The Earth is very flat.
What's going on? It's Friday, May 28th, 2021. Hard to believe it's already the end of May, but here we are. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. And tonight is, of course, Friday Night Fights. We usually have limited moderation. Tonight is almost no moderation. Very, very, very little moderation. And it's usually pretty fun. As long as we get the right people in here, which it usually does attract. So we'll see how that goes down. I did have one little thing that I wanted to share that I found yesterday. I posted it in the Discord yesterday. But it is a weird video that I saw. Could be fake. I have no idea. But it's from another YouTube channel, and I'll share that with you. It has to do with the moon and objects landing on the moon. So there's your teaser. We'll watch that and see what the panel thinks about that. And then, who knows what we'll be talking about tonight. But anyway, let's see who's in the chat. The Big Root family. Gleam. What's up, Gleam? Bill G. Bill says, sounds good. Thank you, sir. Gadget Inspector. Page 42. Enigma. Globe Thrusters. Helen Degenerates. Matrix Media. And Bill G was first tonight. And Jason McCormick just joined us. Arwen's Bald Spot. Cool. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing tonight? Looking forward to the weekend, of course. Yeah, let's go to Discord. What's up, guys? Happy Friday.
Yup. What up?
What up? We got Jeremy, Enigma, Face One, Travis, Matrix Media, and the real Bob Dole. That guy
Hello.
That guy who ran for president was fake as fuck. Right, Bob? Wannabe.
Listen, I'm not here to call out obvious imposters or anything like that, okay? Let's just let those slimy liars live their lives. We don't need to call names and try and call them out on the show.
Okay, fair enough. We'll live and let live. I get you. What's going on? What's new out there in the world besides the Bitcoin taking a giant shit today?
There is nothing new under the sun.
True. That is true.
I'll tell you what I like.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I like. People that think they know what happens in every building on Earth ever. You know, whenever somebody says we didn't have the technology to do that, you know what happened on every building on Earth up to that point? Anytime someone says that, that's what they're invoking, that they knew what happened in every room, everywhere on Earth, for all of humanity leading up to that point.
It's kind of arrogant of them, isn't it? Sit there and say, well, we don't have that capability. I assume you're talking about the government and what
they do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They do it all the time. NASA, the government, yeah. Anyone, yep.
It is ridiculous.
And I've been saying this a long time. It isn't like science ever stops, right? It isn't like the scientists are going to stop working and not do, weird shit in their house. You know what I'm saying? Each and every last one of them have equipment and stuff in their house. All of them continue researching and stuff. Just because we don't know about it doesn't mean that they're not doing it.
Yeah. You think they tell us everything that they're working on?
Of course not.
They've been spending so much money every single year, especially since World War II, and they've been preparing for total war again. Because they realized during that war, probably during World War I, at the very latest, that technology was the key to winning a total war, especially when the Nazis were so close to making breakthroughs that would have completely changed everything. So, they're not just going to go, oh yeah, we have this new technology and here's how to do it.
Yeah.
That's another fishy thing about the whole rocket thing. And they're just going to go out and they figured out what's going on in space and how to navigate it and how to get around. And they're just going to publish that and go tell everybody about it. Especially when it's like the Department of Defense running everything, right? I don't know, man. This doesn't.
I remember a couple of years ago when I started researching flat Earth, I ran into a guy called Eric Dollar, and I ran into another guy that he's kind of like Eric Dollar. He's like an independent scientist, and this crazy motherfucker had a laser beam on top of a fucking 4x4 truck, talking about if the government ever tries to fuck with me, they already know what I'm capable of.
What? Oh my god. I did have one thing to show you guys that I found the other day. I posted in the Discord. I don't know if anybody saw it. Oh shit. The video got made private. That's weird. It was from, I'll tell you what it was. Hopefully I can find it. It was from Mr. MB333, I think is his name. MBB333. You guys ever watch his stuff? Here, I'll share my screen and show you what guy I'm talking about. What this guy essentially does is collect videos and photographs and stuff from people around the country. You can go to his website and submit them. Sometimes he gets obvious fakes. Other times you don't know, but he finds all kinds of weird shit. But he had posted one, I think it was yesterday, where somebody was filming the moon and there was two things landing on the damn moon, or like flying behind the moon. And
there's
now
been
it's
a lot
gone.
of weird shit. There's been a lot of weird shit on the moon. I mean, that one ancient astronaut dude, I forget his name, but he did a thing on rolling rocks that were on the moon. You ever see that one? A lot of
No.
weird shit. A lot of weird shit on the moon.
Yeah, the moon is weird as fuck. I think we can all agree on that. Just a giant floating orb or whatever you want to call it, traveling around the sky. Kind of weird. I'm looking for the video to see if it's on his website or whatever, because it was really cool. MBB.
Like, why would you take that off? Well, why would that go private? Because the owner made it private, or
no, it's his video.
That's what I mean. Whoever published the video, he made it private personally himself.
Yeah, it says private. I assume that.
Why would you? Why would you do that?
I don't know. Maybe there was some copyright shit in it or something, or maybe it was something he shouldn't have had footage of. I don't know. Maybe he says.
Well, I'm footage of the moon. If it's footage of the moon, anyone could just.
Hey,
point
can you
a
guys
camera
hear
up.
me right now?
We hear you.
Okay. I went ahead and got a headset attached. I wanted to make sure you guys could hear me, but I just thought of something. I don't know if I've ever thought of this before, but what stops NASA from copyright striking any footage of the moon that they don't like? It, like anything you put up, couldn't they just take a copy of it and then as soon as they do that, then just copyright strike you, say, hey, this is our footage? Like, what would your argument against it? Who's going to believe you versus NASA? They can just take whatever footage they don't like of the moon, it seems like, and just say, hey, that was ours first. You took that from us. That's private. Really? That's top secret. That's whatever.
What do you mean? Like, so somebody goes out with a telescope and films the moon, and NASA would,
like, the thing you were just talking about, right? If it's just footage of the moon, if they don't show anything else, I could understand if you record yourself in the video, and it's made clear that you're the one taking the video, that would probably take care of that situation. But if it's just footage of the moon and that's it, couldn't they just basically grab it, a copy or whatever, and then just copyright strike you and say, hey, this is actually copyright on the moon?
Who owns the copyright on the moon?
Well, that's not really what I'm saying, No, but you can't own a copyright on the moon. It's the moon. But I'm just saying,
They
what would
can't really do
prevent them
anything,
from
man.
doing that?
Well, I mean, nothing's going to prevent them from doing whatever they want, obviously, because they're censoring and doing whatever they want. So this is a great conversation, actually. But it's not about just the moon, though, that they're censoring everything anybody ever says that's against a standard narrative right now. So nothing's going to stop them, bro. Except
Well,
us
yeah, I
stopping
guess
using them.
I'm
We
not
stopped
really
using
asking
YouTube.
for a real answer of what's going to stop them.
Oh,
I guess I'm more like I'm bringing it up. It's not a thought that I've had before, but I don't know of something that would prevent that from taking place. So with the video they were just talking about, where this guy had it up, and then it's gone now. It's private or whatever. If somebody came out today and like said that, oh well, that was NASA's footage. He took that. He stole that. How would we verify that? Maybe this guy took this video entirely on his own from his own property.
NASA would have to do it. NASA would have to say it. You can't sue on behalf of someone else's breach of contract. So that's you're safe there anyway. Like if I sold you a car and then some other guy, and it was a lemon, and some other guy who's your friend came to me and was like, "Hey, you sold my guy a lemon." I'm like, "So fucking what? What right do you have to talk about it?" It would have to be you to come to me to sue me in court, not him.
Yeah.
Same thing, just a little different.
Yeah.
So NASA particularly would have to try that shit, and then we would destroy NASA as far as a public entity. It wouldn't be something. It would be bad PR for NASA.
So like, I guess hypothetically, let's say Brandon put out a video, okay, and for whatever reason he didn't think of this at the time, and all he had on there was video of the moon, and something weird was going on, very suspicious happenings with the moon, and he just puts that up, and all it is just the moon. He doesn't have anything else in the video.
No music, no audio at all.
Right, nothing else. It's just
Okay.
his video and the moon, and he didn't even record himself talking. He just thought it was weird. He grabbed his camera quick, recorded it, and that's it. Do you think the ballers would believe him? The ones that come in here and talk to us. If that got copyright struck and NASA had it taken down and they said, hey, that was actually NASA's footage, you can't show that.
No,
YouTube
none of
wouldn't
them would believe
him.
it.
I don't think
I'm
the
pretty sure
ballers
no baller would
him.
believe that.
Like, I don't think anybody would actually try to prevent that from taking place. And I'm wondering if that's actually a control mechanism that they have, a lever they can pull for, if you don't do the work to make sure that you are in the video, it's obviously yours. It couldn't be NASA's, that kind of stuff. If it's something they don't like, they could just basically get it removed.
Of course they can, yeah. I mean, I don't want to blow up the show, but they're talking about COVIDs. I'll use code words.
COVIDs. Very nice.
The way they're talking about, that shit.
The Holocaust.
And these are actual doctors and stuff. They're talking about it, and they get censored. So you can even censor the truth. You see the Project Veritas, right?
I've heard of it.
These guys from Facebook admit to censoring even the truth if it doesn't go with the standard narrative. So it's literally a setup. We're not talking about fair game here. It's not fair. I mean, there's no like legit shit going on in Facebook and YouTube and all that. None of it's legit.
Right. And, a couple things you said, yeah, they can pull whatever shit they want. And if they really wanted to get you, they'd smear you in the media or do it by force, make some shit up. But they have pretty much unlimited power. When it comes down to it, this idea that the world is civilized and everything can be settled by words and in a court of law and all that shit, it's really bullshit. I mean, it really comes down to it. It's force. It's violence that kind of rules the day at the end of the day, unfortunately.
It seems like a noble idea at first, but it never really works.
Oh,
coercion right away, right against the Nuremberg Code, right? I mean, they're sitting there telling people, "Oh, we'll put you in $1 million lottery if you take this, thing." You know what I'm saying? Or we'll put you in. Oh, thank you so much. Or we'll give you a free chili dog. I just got a chili dog. For a magazine,
that's your price. That's what you sell for.
One chili dog.
I will give you every one of my neighbors. Take them all.
This
Now
has
they're
to be an
doing lotteries.
Angus dog. Oh, I know, dude. It's ridiculous. It's coercion. Like, if you read the Nuremberg Code, like the very last part of it, after the threats and blah blah blah, it's any type of coercion at all. And when you're coercing people, can be as simple as, let me put you in a lottery. If you take this vaccine, that's coercion.
What kind of a chump are you if you took a donut though, and now they're giving away $1 million?
I know, right? You'd be so.
Are you saying that right now they're doing a lottery? If you get the vaccine, you get
Yes.
put into
Yes.
the running for a
California and
lottery?
Ohio.
Yes, they are. It's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
If this vaccine is so safe, like, why are they forcing people to take it?
Oh, dude, I was at work.
Let's be careful what
yesterday.
we're talking about on here, because that is one thing that they.
Oh yeah, I forget.
Yeah, don't talk about that at all. Anyways,
There's a guy at work yesterday. He was reading some news article, I think, about how there's over 50 million vaccines just sitting around waiting for arms, but there's certain amounts of people that are hesitant to take it, and it seemed like it was kind of like them complaining that there wasn't enough people getting out there and getting the vaccine, that there should be more of them because there's just these vaccines sitting around.
all right, back on topic,
boo-hoo.
man. Back on topic. I was at Jose's earlier, and they're trying to use the circle of sight, planet New Mexico as proof for curvature. And I'm sitting here trying to tell them, that's so you're telling me that it's planet New Mexico, curvature, but so if it's curving in the screen on the left side and the right side, and like the same thing if you compress it, right? But if you pan on over, is that curve going to continue, or is it going to start back over? So what I want to see from them is where the horizon would keep going higher.
Only a jackass would say
that circle. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, right? And
Oh yeah.
I want to see it where it gets bigger, and stops getting bigger and starts getting smaller. You know what I'm saying? In other words, where you have the entire Earth. They're trying to say their proof of their curvature is planet New Mexico. And I bring up Felix Baumgartner and show him that the horizon is the same on the ground. Well, he's 15 foot up in the air. And
I just got to say something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
It really blows my mind, and this is directly an insult towards you. There's no offense really to anybody else, but it blows my mind though how when there's that this is what's important to you. With what all's going on today, this is the fucking one that's important. Never mind, I'm out.
Well, it ain't that, man. It ain't that. We all know. We all have a pretty much similar opinion on that. But that's what gets shows kicked. I've just seen it, even with doctors. So I'm just trying to put it on subject.
I showed this. It was months ago, I think, that I did this, but on the stream, I loaded up Minecraft and I shared my screen. The way the Earth looks like it falls away on the sides. Minecraft is a game made out of blocks, straight lines. That's all it's made out of. That's it. That's all you can find in the game is straight, flat lines. That's it. Okay, and it'll extend on, go out and out, out and out and out. Almost, basically, it is. It might as well be infinite how big the worlds can get, because they'll go for so long. Basically, you're not going to get to the end of the world in your lifetime. Okay, they'll just keep going and going. But if you raise your character up and go into the sky, this flat world with this made out of cubes and displayed onto a flat screen will start to curve off to the side, basically because of perspective.
Can you guys see the what I'm sharing on my screen? This is similar to what he had showed yesterday in that video that's gone. And I looked on his Patreon, and I didn't check his Twitter, but I was trying to find out why he took it down. Because maybe he found out it was a fake, or there was something else fake in his videos, because he does take them down if he finds out that they're fake. But it was similar to this, where you could see an object that was clearly close to the moon, but instead of flying in front of it, it was like flying down behind it. and then the object disappeared. This is actually interesting footage here, and the difficult part with these kind of things is you don't know if they're real and you don't know where they came from. But I'm just reading this little description here. Did you guys see it, or did I not play enough of it? Can you guys see that?
I just now started seeing it.
What?
Yeah, so there's these two objects, and then they appear to disappear into the shadow, which...
That's about what I picture in my head, you know, something like a moon, like about, you know, probably about maybe 1,000 miles, maybe not even a few hundred miles. That's kind of what I picture in my head. And crafts, if we've seen crafts up against it, that's about how they'd look, you know. It's like a projection, you know. I don't know. I got mixed feelings, but I know I was wrong about. I want to retract the eclipses, this lunar eclipse is coming in from the bottom and the side, because some of my fellow flat earthers have posted some videos of lunar eclipses and shit. So I'll retract that. So they definitely come in from the bottom and the sides.
Okay.
But I still stand firm on the selenelium with the sun going. I mean, with the sun coming up, the shadow should not come in from the top. That's gosh darn ridiculous. But that's awesome footage, man. Right there. I hope it's real.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's not the first time we've seen videos of things that are clearly flying by the moon. Crow 777 had a bunch of footage that he used to show. He probably still does. I just don't watch his show. Of objects that were kind of like flying around the moon and shit. And I've seen a bunch of other videos of it too. Like I said, you don't know what's real or not. But if someone showed me that video and there wasn't the things, I go, oh yeah, that's real. So who knows? I mean, if it's close, if the moon is close, why wouldn't there be things flying around it? But I was reading this little paragraph here, and this guy says, the camera zooms in on the sharply lit crescent horizon. This reveals several objects apparently flying close to its surface, casting convincing shadows as they move from sunlight into darkness. Objects are clearly miles long, given the scale involved and the shadows cast. So he's thinking, you know, the moon's 240,000 miles away or whatever. So obviously these would have to be gigantic things. But like you said, Brian, they'd be a lot smaller if the moon was closer. He says it's on some channel that only has one video posted.
If it was closer, maybe they did land on it, but it's not what they're showing us. I mean, what they're showing us is obviously staged.
It doesn't look like they're landing on it. It looks like they're going through it or something, which would support the idea that it's not like a physical thing that you even can land on.
That's a good point, dude. It does kind of like, now that you mention it, yeah, they quite possibly is just going through it. That's a hell of a good point.
Yeah. Chad says, what day was the moon thing? I think he posted it yesterday, because I saved the link yesterday. I don't know what day it was taken on, but he posted it then. And I'm trying to see what this name means that they have on there. English. Let me see, because there's a title. What is with this thing? Why is it trying to give me detect language? Come on now.
I know, we're not even talking about my model. We're not even talking about my model giving you trouble. What's up with that?
Film towards Montreal in the late afternoon. That's all this video says. Film towards Montreal in the late afternoon.
All right, well, get
Nothing
SE
else.
in here and ask him what's going on with the moon. What's he doing?
Yeah. SE's close, so he should know what's going on with this specific video, because everybody in Montreal knows each other. So we'll wait for him.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Listen, I don't know what those Canadians are up to, but they better not hurt the moon, okay? I'm sure it's important.
I would think it's important, unless it's like we said, it's like a burnt out old sun or something. But it does seem to have some interesting qualities, such as crops. they're to be planted on, what is it, the full moon or a new moon? I can never remember. You're supposed to plant your seeds on the new moon? Anybody remember? It says it's in the Farmer's Almanac. Anyway,
I'm not sure, man.
Yeah, you plant crops according to the phases of the moon. Anyway, that's all I had.
Like the
Pre-planned.
first full moon after freeze or some shit, man.
I don't remember. I'll look it up. What moon phase plant crops? Anyway, what else is going on? Floor's
Hey,
wide
I
open
wanted
if
to-
you
I
got
would-
something you want to talk about.
Yeah, look.
Oh, Brian, you
say
got that
something. I
echo
was
going.
re-listening to a stream.
But I re-listened to a stream, Brandon, and you mentioned sending up a balloon. You know, mentioned that it probably wouldn't cost not even $1. And my GoFundMe's went stale at like 125. Just you and Travis and a couple other people donated. You know, and I'd be willing to pitch that in. And one of the main things I want to test for this, to me, would be something we could prove. Would be because at 120,000 feet, the horizon's supposed to be like 6 degrees, and if we set it up on a clear day, I don't think it'd be nowhere near that. By judging off Felix Baumgartner jump, it's a nice clear horizon out in the distance, and as long as it's nice clear weather, it'd be, it might even be 1 degree. 2 degrees. I don't think there's no way in the world it'd be 6, but I have a few other things to test for. But if you'd be interested in doing that, I'd put that money in and a little extra on top of it. Maybe even come in to meet you and do it. I don't know. Something to think about.
Yeah, it is. It would be interesting. Yeah, let me think about that. I don't know if I wanted to do it myself, really. But yeah,
Well,
maybe.
I could do it, man. And anybody, I could invite anybody who wanted to meet here in Northeast Florida. Go Jaguars. But anybody who wanted to meet, and I could cut the price way down because I already have the balloon. I already have the, I got the way of making the hydrogen, which I've already.
Okay, I'll definitely pitch in on it.
Need his help. Well, I'm gonna probably change the GoFundMe thing, man. I'll still probably do the fishing line thing when I get around to it, but I'm not gonna buy the extra line. But look, what I need is a transponder, or figure out how to put together a little transponder, something like that. To me, I mean, what does everybody else think? Hey, wouldn't that be? I mean, to me, that's the most compelling evidence, is like seeing the horizon at like 120,000 feet, looking out ahead.
You're looking in the wrong direction, bro.
Pancake.
No, you're looking in the wrong direction. Nothing's going to get it. I mean, if you're going to send a balloon up, let me know first, because we need to take a shot at the moon when you're way up there, and then a shot at the ground level with the same camera, same settings. But you got to do that. I don't know why that hasn't been done yet, but you got to do that if you're sending a fucking balloon up.
But Florida's great, man, because it's a couple hundred. Here where I'm at the top, it's as wide as the country. But as soon as you start going down, it starts thinning out to probably like 250 miles wide. I'm up at the Panhandle, all the way on the coast. But I've seen a couple balloons launched in Florida, but at that same time, I'd have to check to see if launching it around here is even feasible. There's a couple desolate locations within an hour's drive of here. If I had to go somewhere desolate, but
no matter where you launch it from, no matter where you launch it from, you got to let them know.
Hey, Brandon,
just
did you
go
see
out
the
there and
shadows?
send a balloon up.
Did you see the shadows of those ships?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty weird footage. That's for sure.
They got to be like right near the surface, bro.
They'd have to be, right?
Wow.
It's kind of strange how they disappear into the
No,
shadow,
unless
but I
they
suppose
say
it would
it's
be
the
that
opera.
sudden.
That's the the umbra.
The what?
Like how the moon's umbra was only freaking 70 miles wide, which, you know, makes perfect sense. We say that's probably about the size of the moon, which is still about it. It's bigger than any two of our cities combined. But, you know, they say it's umbra. So I was just kind of making a joke. Like, they might say that's the space umbra on the moon, like the equivalent of a 70-mile shadow on the Earth would be like a spaceship, like a big-ass spaceship, making a tiny little shadow way far away or something. It's a bad joke, sorry.
I was trying to figure out if it was a joke or not. Yeah, this is really weird footage. I wish I could analyze stuff like this, but it looks genuine to me. Doesn't it look genuine to you, Travis? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems that it has the same, you know, the same grain to it. It's what's interesting to me is like where they come from. It looks like they're coming from around the backside.
Yeah.
They all just appear.
Yeah, for sure. Like they're
Right there.
flying around the moon.
Like right there. Yeah.
I seen this a long time ago, man. I think it was either Donnie and Daytona or Boogie. Boogie. I think they both had showed like about, I don't know, 5-6 months ago. Wasn't that long, but nobody ever took credit. I mean, who's claimed to have photoed it? Anybody take credit? NASA ain't taking credit, brother.
It's just on this channel called John Michael Tanek. Says, and all it says is it was filmed by Montreal in April, was it? I don't know.
What's the channel? Wait. What's the channel again?
Jean-Michel Tanek.
Yeah, that. Here, I'll post it in Discord.
Yeah, and it's the ones of the two crafts coming from like what appears to be behind the moon, almost kind of looping around and disappearing into the shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was that claimed to have?
I mean, this is over a year old.
Not April of this year.
No, this is over a year
Yeah.
old.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same one. But yeah, man, I'd like to.
How many views does that have?
This, man. We should be able to
5,000
get a hold of them.
or 2 million, actually. Sorry. Well, the only reason I brought this up was because there was one on this channel, like I said, that was similar. So, I mean, this could be fake. Be pretty good fake. And of course, there's people in the comments that are saying it's fake. But I don't.
Yeah, it might be.
Proof.
Good thing none of us are drawing any hard conclusions or insisting that we
exactly.
know exactly what it is and insisting that everyone else believe us on what we say it absolutely is, with no question. Good thing we're not doing any of those retarded things with it, huh?
Yeah, we're obviously a skeptical bunch, right? I mean, if all your we're basically science, modern day science, you know, skeptic of every damn thing, all the way down to the damn shape of what we're walking on. We're skeptical of everything, but hey, we
Bob,
also
your mic's
consider
popping
everything too.
Bob, your mic's popping a little bit.
Yeah, there's I'm looking for comments that say, "Oh, this is a fake." Here, we found this. But anyway, I guess it doesn't matter. It's just a random piece of footage.
When I showed the Felix Baumgartner, I mean, I didn't show up. They had seen it, but I recorded it. You know, I don't really have to make a video. So many people have done it with the horizon. But I made a video, haven't posted it yet, of the capsule. They wait till the balloon straight overhead, and even when it's launching, they said if they didn't get the balloon straight overhead, then it would cause a pendulous effect, and they'd have to abort. So I showed it. Right. It does a little tiny bit of movement when he's in a jet stream. He mentions a little bit of movement, and they say, well, you'll be above the jet stream here, such and such. Don't worry about that. And that was not even, it was minimal. But it showed the capsule, the balloon's so big it's hanging down, so stable. It doesn't tilt. They're trying every the book to tell me they don't know which way
You're
the
cutting
camera's
out,
pointed.
bro.
Yeah, all right, man. Fuck it.
Was it just me, or
No, he was
was it
cutting
just
out
me?
occasionally. No.
Sorry, Brian.
No, that's cool, man. But let me just say one other thing, just if y'all can make out what I'm saying. They won't give me a straight up. I tell them this is why I can bring it up multiple times, because y'all won't give me a straight up. Say you don't know which way the camera is pointing. Blue said it might be pointing toward Beetlejuice. No, it's got his head pointing out toward the damn horizon. You see it from the ground. You see the mountain out in the distance with the sun setting, you know, and the horizon's in the same damn place at 127,000 feet. And
Well, all you
I
gotta
know
do
the degree. If I can compare what I'm seeing at the ground to what I'm seeing at 127,000 feet. And then one last thing. So when he steps out on the platform, it's still stable. It still doesn't rock. But I'm like, what would you have to do to get that degree down, to get it down to 6 degrees? What would you have to do? Him standing in front of the capsule, not leaning it. You know, so they won't give me a straight explanation for that.
Well, all you got to do is count the photons and the pixels. I mean, I think Professor Phil last night said there's 32 million or billion photons in a pixel. What was it, Travis? You remember?
Yeah,
was
is it
was
a
that
ladder or little?
1080p? Was that 1080p or HD or 720? What are they working with? Does it matter?
It's whether the photons, is there a lot or just a few or a bunch? Which is it? Count the photons. That's fun.
Yeah, Phil was pretty funny last night. That was cracking me up, man.
He was spiraling. All I did was ask him. He started talking about how he does all this science and stuff. So I just wanted to know if he knew the 3 constituent parts of an experiment. That's pretty basic.
You were wasting your opportunity to ask him questions.
I mean, if he just answered
He
it,
was gracing you with his presence. Okay.
If he just answered it, we would have moved on. He spent 3 minutes talking about how I was wasting his time instead of just answering it and moving on.
I thought
So
about
it's weird
that
he's
today that he said that, and I was like, what do you have to think about yourself to say something like that? No offense, Phil, but it's like,
yes, offense for me.
No offense, retract.
Probably have to be under the impression that you know something.
Right.
I wanted to ask him, is there anything he ever learned that he doesn't agree with in school? I asked Blue Marble Science the same question. Is there anything he learned in school or university, whatever, that you don't agree with, that's wrong? And he said no. And I would think Professor Phil would probably have to give me that same answer. So that's how they measure the intelligence and memorizing what you've been taught, because everything's been discovered according to them. You know, everything's mapped out, mathematical, and it's just a matter of making it more. How do you?
You sound like shit, bro.
Well, let me say one more thing. How would you call that intelligence if you're not discovering shit on your own? You're not making your own shit up or learning new.
No, it's not getting better.
Oh yeah, that worked. You totally don't sound like shit anymore. Just from that one more thing. Sorry, Brian.
Sometimes your mic sounds perfect, Brian. I don't get it. It boggles my mind.
He's like
wow.
laggy in a bad spot. He's like laggy in a bad spot or something right now.
He's
It sounds
got
good
that
like
mic.
this. From what it
At
sounds
least
good.
he doesn't sound like he's
as long
climbing
as everybody else
Everest.
is on mute.
Yeah, the echo thing starts when you're like this. Why does it echo though? I don't get it. If you could figure out how to get rid of the echo, you'd be all set. No, but you're totally laggy now, so never mind. We can figure it out some other time. Beatball sent me a video from a guy named Captain Disillusion, whose face is half covered in silver paint, and he's talking to Phil Platt, who lives in NASA's underwear, and he evidently debunks this moon video. So if anybody wants to watch this, Go for it. It'd be awesome, B-Ball, if you could just tell me what he says in this that you think debunks this video.
Did they debunk it as good as we debunked the satellites thing falling into the clouds?
No, I don't think so. I'm looking for
Yeah, I mean, you can't. That was top notch.
hard to debunk anything harder than that. Well, maybe the ping pong ball shadow. That was pretty.
Oh, that took. Would that take you 2 minutes?
Yeah, about 2 minutes. Yeah. That's the second one of those that's happened with. The first one, we just looked at it and go, those shadows aren't the same, because it was more of like the shadow was in the middle. And then they came up with that one, or maybe they've got 2 or 3 of these things floating out there, but they're all fucked up. So you guys need to burn those. Get rid of those. Go open your folders,
That's
ballers.
gonna end up.
Find your little ping
gonna end up
pong
like
balls, moon shadow matching pictures, and drag them over to the trash can and then empty the trash, because that's a bunch of absolute junk.
The ping pong balls are getting put right next to the toilet bowl flushes with the Coriolis.
Yeah, Coriolis. We don't even talk about Coriolis anymore, thank God. We talked about
Come on, reference
Coriolis
frames.
so much.
Let's talk about reference frames.
Yeah, right. Oh, Zanuck and his reference frames. Don't say that, because I do not want to listen to Zanuck talk about reference frames.
We've gave them a million opportunities to demonstrate Coriolis, dude. They, a million opportunities. We show demonstrations of what it is. They don't. It's like that with everything.
I mean, listen. Those crafts or whatever have to be so close. Look how fast the shadows are moving in relation to the objects themselves.
Yeah, I gotta watch. Go ahead.
What if they're not shadows though? Like, so if the moon isn't a solid object and it's some sort of either projection or type of like energy projection, whatever those things are could simply be disrupting that in the same manner that the light is disrupted and makes a shadow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't even know if that's real, man. I mean, we're talking about a video.
Go
ahead, Jeremy.
Photons. You get to the bottom. No, I was just saying, count the photons. You get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, count the photons. Well, listen, how long is the light beam so we can count the photons? Okay? You got to know how long it is, right?
I'd like you guys to get a fish tank full of water and then, take a picture from 10 feet away and point out any light beam you'd like, any ray of light going through there. Go ahead.
Why is this so hard?
What did Phil say last night?
Go ahead.
No, you go, because that sounds good. It's so hard for them to say what?
So hard for them to say that a light ray is not a real object. Like it's not a thing in itself. That it's just a
because they need them for
string of photons.
You know that ray tracing? You know that ray tracing bullshit they do? They need those rays for that, so they can show us how refraction works. That's why they need those ray.
Hey, ray tracing is really cool for like video games and movies. Okay,
it's not ray tracing
when they're trying to make fake stuff look real.
It's ray diagramming. He's not tracing anything. In order to trace something, right? You're going to put over a lighter piece of paper over a picture and trace it. They're not tracing anything. It's all.
I believe you.
It's just all rhetoric. It pisses me off because.
So if the ray tracing he's talking about is the same as like the stuff that they use for like movies and stuff, what it's referring to is the light is shot, and basically it's calculated where the light will go after it goes out and hits things. So if it hits a wall, then it's calculated where it'll go after that, and then after that maybe it hits the floor. Maybe if there's enough left over, maybe it hits another wall after the floor. And basically it's like this mass calculation of these beams going out and trying to calculate what real light would do and then display it in the video games and movies. It's so you can make things look more realistic. The light isn't just baked into the scene like in the old days. It is calculated where the light would realistically refract to and how it would react with the environment that's in it. That's what the ray tracing is there. So I'm not sure what it is he's talking about that he's doing, but if it's the same, then it's not a matter of like tracing like you would something on paper. It's tracing where the path, following the path of light, calculating where the path of light would go.
Yeah, you guys never heard Rumpet? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, then just call it ray projecting or ray calculating. Okay, because again, tracing, brings up in my mind that concept of you've got something physical that you are overlaying and marking and sitting out. But what you just said, Bob, made me think of something real quick. So, if we drop a pebble in the water and it sends out ripples, those ripples move in a direction and they hit the edge of the fish tank. Well, as soon as, I'm not going to say this right, so whatever. As soon as the amount of ripples that the object created stop, right? The first one is going to be the biggest, the second one, and then it's going to get smaller until there's nothing, right? And then it flattens out. It levels out. The surface of the water gets still. But if we think about shining a light toward the wall, if I shine the light toward the wall and then turn it off, why doesn't the light continue to travel to the wall and then get lighter and lighter and lighter and then break up and disappear? Like, why doesn't it remain? Because it's traveling along a path, right? But
that's the argument of Airy's failure, bro. Of like the light from the stars. Like we'd have to tip our microscopes, we'd have to tip our telescopes if we filled it with water, and we'd have to do different degrees for different stars at different distances. Man, that's how Airy's failure. What you just said is a perfect example of how Airy's failure proves it's the stars moving and not us.
Well, the last thing I was going to say was when we turn a light on or turn it off, it's just an immediate transaction. Boom, boom. You turn the light off, it's gone. It doesn't last until the final. It's not like a Doppler effect in light, right?
One thing's been bothering me about this whole ray tracing. Do you remember who it was the other day that said that it's kind of like a car that's half on the road and half off of the road? And
yeah, compass.
The road is hard, hard asphalt, and then on the side of the road there's a mud puddle, so it pulls you towards, or snow, and it pulls you off the road. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, well, how could a light ray be simultaneously half in one medium and half in another?
Yep.
It's so small.
Wouldn't the photon have to be bigger than the
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's just one little tiny dot, so it's just moving from medium to medium maybe, but it's not half in one medium and half in another medium.
Right. Well, okay. So look, that's what I was thinking about too the other day when talking about this, because I've done a couple of episodes where I've shown what when I've gone through Andrew Thomas Young's. I think if you look at these videos, I've got a playlist of Andrew Thomas Young. So when I go through his statements on ray tracing, I say something like the only time we see sun rays or sunbeams, because I actually think that he utilizes both terms, right? He's like, if you don't like the term sun ray, just think of it like a sunbeam. Well, the only time we see a sunbeam is when there's an obstruction that blocks the sunlight. So if you're looking through a grove of trees, you can see beams of light. That's not a beam of light, okay? That's not a beam. That's light. And the reason why you don't see the full field of view is because the trees are obstructing the light.
Right,
So,
what you're actually seeing is a lack of the rest of the light.
right. Okay, good. Right. So then what I did was I went into, I just did a Google search for light beams in water. So then they've got pictures of people underwater taking pictures of the sun coming through, and you've got the same thing. Now, what is that? That is the disturbance of the surface of the water that is creating a density that obstructs the light from coming through, so that where it's less dense, the light comes through. So then you've got these beams of light. Well, what if you were in a pool or in a lake, and you were underwater and you had a video camera and there were no beams, it was just light, right? That's the way it works. That's just what it is. It's just light. So if you were in one I guess vector, taking a picture of this disturbance, and you've got rays of light coming through the surface of the water, and then you turned around and took a picture in the same medium, you wouldn't have those beams of light behind you because of the source of the sun. The sun is in front of you, creating that direction. But if you turned around, all you would have would be your field of view illuminated, but there wouldn't be any beams, there wouldn't be any rays. So the whole thing is with these rays and beams, it's bullshit. Okay, light just is. It's just there. It's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not buying their light story either. They made it to fit their model. They're like, this is what light's doing in the atmosphere at long distance. We know this because we know we're on a globe. Everything they have is based off of, we know we're on a globe. We know Earth's spinning, whatever. They just know things. So they're jumping to these conclusions that might not are based off of assumptions on top of assumptions.
Yeah. This idea that there's these little tiny, essentially pebbles being shot out of anything that's giving off a light, the sun or whatever. And that's what they say, right? That's what a photon is. It's a really tiny little thing, right? That these things are being shot out of the sun. That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they say that we're
Photons out the
basically
sun.
made of the same stuff too. Not the exact same stuff. They call those photons. They call the other things atoms. But they're also saying the same thing about us, that we are made up of these invisible things. That's what they're really saying. These invisible things that we can't see, we're made up of a bunch of them. It's retarded.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, the idea that the sun is continually shooting out these little photons in every direction.
Pew, pew, pew.
And never depletes itself. How does that happen? I'm sure they got a story for that. The magical perpetual motion machine that they've created is
they've got a lot of perpetual motion machines going out there. They also have a lot of things that goes against natural laws. A lot of things that just flat out don't make sense, like getting farther away from the bonfire and getting hotter as you get farther away.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Who was it?
They have that in multiple. That's multiple. They have multiple cases of that, getting farther away, but getting hotter.
Yeah, right.
I forgot who. I don't even remember all of them, but one of them definitely has to do with the heat source on the inside and outside of the sun. No, they claim to know that shit. Fucking ridiculous, anyways, in itself. But I forgot what the other ones were. Yeah, we just went over this. What was it, this week or last week or something?
No, I think it was like last week. You were pissing somebody off with asking about the bonfire analogy. I can't remember who it was though.
Yeah, you're getting farther away from the bonfire and getting hotter.
Where's all the Globers tonight? I guess after that just absolute thrashing they took last night, they don't want to show their faces in here.
No, yeah, Jay Ace is letting me have it in the chat, so he can join. Come on.
Do they claim that photons are made up of atoms?
I think so. And let me look it up. What a photon is made of. I've never
they
really been into that stuff.
They were saying earlier in Gems.
No.
They were saying earlier in Gems that they don't have mass. They do have mass. They have rest mass. Now there's multiple different kinds of mass. They can't even get the first one straight, but they got, I don't know.
It's a no. They say it's a type of elementary particle.
Elementary particle. Who
I
the fuck
assume
does that
that's-
mean?
All
That's
right.
a good question. Let me click on elementary particle. In particle
Yes,
physics,
yes.
an elementary particle or fundamental particle is a subatomic particle with no substructure. It's not composed of any other particles.
We seek the ancient knowledge. Feed us more.
What's a subatomic particle? Let's just keep clicking. In physical science, subatomic
It's so small it
particles
can't
are
be made up of anything.
Yeah,
That's what it means.
they're
It
smaller
can't-
than
it
atoms.
can't exist. It's too tiny.
That makes sense. Subatomic means smaller than atoms, of course.
Yeah. This thing called an atom, it makes up everything. Everything's made out of it. Well, what about these other things? They're too small. Well, they're made up of things that aren't making up things.
They got all kinds of tiny little things. They've got quarks, leptons, anti-quarks, anti-leptons.
Yeah, you know what they do? Hold on. You know how they got all these things? They keep smashing shit, and they're like, "Oh, look, this looks like a different piece. We'll make a name for it. Oh, look, this looks like a different piece. We'll make a name for it." They're just smashing shit into smaller and smaller pieces, and they're just naming shapes of. I don't know. It's fucking bullshit, though.
Jeremy,
Think about that.
they think everything in the world is made out of tiny little balls. They literally, everything in all of existence ever is made of fucking spheres in their world.
They love balls.
Guys, they are dedicated. They have dedicated their lives to coming up with names for smaller and smaller pieces of dirt. Think about that.
Yeah, like imagine you had a toy and you just kept breaking it into smaller pieces and just named every one of the pieces that came off. And then you smash that little piece into little smaller pieces and you name that piece. It's fucking stupid.
Everything's a sphere. It doesn't even matter. Even light rays are spheres.
If you're gonna make fun of the mainstream knowledge, at least get it right. What you're making fun of.
What did I say?
What are
wrong?
they doing, Bio?
Yeah.
That the little bits
I
and
knew he couldn't
pieces
keep
that
his
make
mouth
up
shut for too
that
much
make
longer.
up the
by way.
world. The bits and pieces that make up the world are not said to be all spherical.
Oh, okay. Please enlighten us.
They may
What
be
else?
depicted
What
that
shape?
way for smooth brains like us to understand and visualize, but that's not the case.
But you do love spherical balls, though, just for the record, right?
I love all types of shapes.
All types
But
of balls.
especially balls, yeah.
I don't think so. All shapes are beautiful.
He has to say that so that he doesn't upset the women.
I don't think there's any women in here, are there?
Actually, I think we have one female, two females that are regular viewers. Three. I can think of three.
Well,
still there.
regular, but not here right now, though.
Oh, in the room? You don't know. This is this gender fluidity. So any of us.
No, I thought I've heard
Ruhif could
everyone's
be a
voice
woman.
here.
Ruhif could be a woman. You don't know.
Ruhif's a bitch.
Let's not do that. Come on.
I'm just
let's
saying.
not.
I'm just saying.
Let's stop
Bob.
saying. Okay. Just knock it off.
No, there's no girls in here.
Except for Ruhif.
Because he's a bitch.
Anyway, so yeah, little tinier and tinier and tinier little tiny spheres everywhere.
So again, that's false.
Well,
But
at
then
least
your
that-
critique about it, your critique about the knowledge is fine. Like you're allowed to critique it, but if you misrepresent it, someone should correct you.
They are just breaking stuff apart into smaller pieces and just naming the pieces, though, right?
Okay, so
More or
Is that
less, it's
not
more
what's
complicated,
happening?
but that's fine. That's fine. Summary of it.
So BioDuo, just provide us with an example of something so small that's not a sphere.
Well, that's what I'm correcting is the thought that all of these tiny little pieces are spherical in shape. I don't think that they do have particular shapes. I think they're just represented spherically because it's easier
Okay,
to
great.
represent.
Great. So you don't think, which means you don't know.
No, we all think right now. We all right now in this chat think a particular thing. We all don't think particular things.
Listen,
What I'm telling you is, from my opinion, not being a physicist, not being a molecular physicist, that is what the information is. That there is no particular shape.
Every
Yeah, I
single
have a question.
picture, every single diagram
But
I
you
can
can't
find
do the
of
correcting
all
that
of
you were
these
talking
different
about.
little things are all shown as spheres. Every
I
single
know,
one.
and as I said, right, I did say that it's represented spherically in all the diagrams and all the pictures that we see, just because it's easier for us smooth brains to comprehend it. That's all.
That's
Hold
the
on, I have a
hold on real quick, Jeremy. I'm sorry. That's the
Sorry.
exact same answer that they give for the air flight manuals when they say, "Oh, the reason why they talk about it being over a flat and stationary Earth is just to keep it really simple. You know, if you just think about it that way, blah blah blah." Okay, so you have now just ad hoc, right? You just made some shit up, right? You just gave us an answer that you made up. Otherwise, I am actually interested in learning if you can show me a citation where they say, we are representing it this way to make it more simple for you to get the concept. Go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think that's required, because when Brandon was making the claim that we all think that everything is spherical, when he said everything is spherical, that's how we represent it. You didn't ask for his citation that said that's what we thought. But now that I corrected his misrepresentation, now you require me to jump through hoops.
But my citations are on
You
screen.
didn't correct
what are you talking
anything,
about?
though. You don't know.
I'm showing my
It's on
citations.
the it's on the screen, bro.
I keep clicking through them. I can't find one that's a square or a triangle. It's all
Anyways,
spheres.
No. Where does it say?
Quarks
Where does it say that these particles are spherical in shape?
In this picture
these
right
quarks
here.
and WIMPs?
Right. So in the picture that we
hold
can
on.
both agree is not reality. It is a picture. It's cartoon, even if it's a representation. But do you have the information that says we believe that quarks or gluons, we believe that these are spherical in shape? Do you have that information?
Do they have a shape for them, or are they just shapeless and just how would they even know one from the other if they had no shape? Do they have a shape for these?
No, that's a good question. What I would assume is that the interactions that they have within particular experiments indicate what particular particle is doing the interactions. That's what I would assume. But again, I'm not a particle physicist, so.
Yeah, what you mean is what you would guess. What you would guess.
Right? Did I say assume? I'm pretty sure I said that word, right?
No, you said guess.
No, I said assume, right?
Okay, but you can't correct him if you don't know the answer. You're just putting out another possible answer.
No,
That's
that
not
is
correcting something.
Oh, I got you. I'll find an official source. You didn't require it of Brandon, but you required it of me. But I will get you one. Don't worry.
No.
Brandon wasn't trying to correct anything. He's just
but
showing us
I know he was
information.
trying to make baseless claims, and I'm just
No, he just showed exactly what they have on the website.
That's all.
He presented what they have on the website. It is there on the website. You can go look
Did
at
I
it.
say that at the beginning when they
You can't correct what they have on the website if you don't have anything to correct it with.
Didn't I say the words? When they present these in diagrams, they present them as spherical because it's easier for our smooth brains to understand.
No,
okay, where do you find that on the website? Where does it say that?
Exactly.
Oh, I got you.
It doesn't say that. You're making an assumption about what they're trying to do with their words.
I got you.
Why are you assuming what they mean with their words and their pictures?
Don't worry. I got you.
Well, I found his citation for him on chemistry stack exchange.
I saw that one too. I didn't want to use it because that was just people having conversations. I was trying to find something better, but I did
Greg,
see that.
What about look, we know who it said it. Greg did. This guy right here, Greg.
I don't know his credentials.
He looks like a legit dude.
Again, I don't know his credentials. I wouldn't present it.
The point is, how can they have pictures of these things smaller than atoms when we can't even get a picture of an atom?
Do they have pictures of these things smaller than atoms?
No, they don't. They have images.
Well, they're claiming that they know they're subatomic particles. How do they know how big they are if they can't get a picture of an atom? How would they know the size of this thing?
It would be made with particular calculations. Again, this is just secondhand information, but they make calculations. Yeah. And what I wanted to specify
earlier... Do you see the
earlier,
problem, though?
No, because, the problem is that you're talking when I'm trying to explain something. Yeah. So when you said, the earlier thing that you said when they just smash things together and then they pick things out that break up and then they call things different names, I thought that was fine as a base summary. But what they've done many times is made calculations on what they would expect, and when the calculations don't fit, they either make corrections to their calculations, collect more data, or they can make an assumption, a safe assumption, that there is a particle that's doing something that they didn't account for. So when they perform more experiments and it keeps coming up the same way, then they can make that decision that there must be this new particle we're not accounting for. When we account for it, it consistently matches up in the end, and then they'll make that decision that this particle does exist, and it inhibits these properties to it. And again, I'm probably butchering it, but that would be a layman's summary.
Yeah,
They make a decision.
that's fine.
That
The problem,
exist. That's weird.
the problem lies within that we can't get a picture of an atom, and they're claiming to know there's stuff out there that's smaller than the atom. How? They've never seen it.
Right.
You
So
can't get a picture of an
I had
atom.
a long explanation, but I don't think it would be good to repeat it.
It's
That's
nonsense.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Leave it.
I'll read this just for anybody who's listening. The easy answer is that atoms are not spherical in shape. Sphere is a solid object. Atoms do not have well-defined boundaries with solid cutoffs. This is Greg saying this, so you know it's true. Atoms are more like clouds consisting. Yeah, Greg's cool. Distributions of electrons, neutrons, and protons. So they're clouds, guys, in sphere-shaped.
Atom
Sphere-shaped clouds.
So we're made up of sphere-shaped atom clouds.
Yeah.
Is that what they're talking about when they say, what does the internet things? Am I uploading to atoms?
Yes, I think so.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
I'm a scientist.
Definitely are if you use a computer. That's all. I mean, it proves the globe. Let's not forget that. iPhones prove the globe. And science is all about creating computers. This is a delightfully interesting question. And Dave, PhD, has put up a good, excellent answer. Let's see what this guy says. How do we determine if something is spherical? Well, we do so by looking at it.
What the fuck? Really? Somebody asked that question?
Yeah, that's what somebody said. Yeah. For large macroscopic objects, that usually means photons of light scatter off the object and are captured on our eyes. So yeah, they think that these little things are bouncing around. The signals
okay, just to be pedantic, large macroscopic is redundant.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, I suppose so. The signals generated are converted. Yeah, blah blah blah. Similar.
So does that just basically break down? Does that break down into use your eyes, idiot? Like that's his answer, isn't it?
I don't actually know. Let's see.
If
Essentially,
just read his answer again. That's what it sounds like, is a more complicated way to say look at it.
How do we determine if something is spherical? Well, we do so by looking at, measuring its dimensions, etc. So looking at something and measuring it, that's how we determine if it's spherical. I wonder what he means by measuring its dimensions.
Boy, here we go.
For large macroscopic objects, that usually mean photons, light scatter, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to find the part where he just says, oh, here's another one. Now we know electrons and atoms occupy orbitals. So, Biodual, are these things orbiting around each other? These little atoms? Like they show us in those pictures?
That's what's claimed. I think more specifically, the electron exists in an electron cloud, and at any moment it'll occupy the space of a point within that cloud. So I think they just attribute it as it's moving around something within a particular field, so it must be orbiting. I think that's how they.
It's got to be orbiting.
So are they saying an atom is solid or no?
They show it as solid, but I guess they're saying
from his previous description, it sounds like maybe it's hard to nail down exactly what an atom is.
Yeah, I don't think this level of the physical world is very well understood. I think particular parts of it are.
That's
fair. What's smaller, a photon or an atom?
A photon, because a photon's a subatomic, so subatomic.
So you guys are claiming to understand photons, but not the atoms.
You can describe things and not understand them.
You guys are so full of shit.
I can describe a car engine, but I don't understand car engines. I really don't. There are particular things. I can change my oil. I can change brake pads. I can flush particular systems, but I couldn't explain a car engine properly. But I could still describe it.
Yeah, not very well though.
Go ahead, try.
No, yeah, true, very true. But there are things that I can describe it, and I can learn more if I wanted to. But I don't give a shit about it. But there are some things.
But let's say that somebody didn't. Let's say you were sitting there and you were describing a car engine and what it does, and somebody's like, "No, that's not real. That's not a thing that exists." How would you prove them wrong?
I can show them. I could show them the effects of a car engine operating. I can show the effects of it heating up, and they can feel. Sorry, they can feel the effects of it heating up. So they would know that something's happening.
If they're just feeling the effects, if that's literally all they're detecting is the effects, they could just say that's a lighter. You're holding a lighter near me.
Right, and I would just ask, how do you know it's a lighter? Because if you're making that claim,
No, they're not saying it is a lighter. It could be a lighter. So your engine still doesn't exist yet.
Oh no, that's fine. People can say something could be whatever it is. What I can present is the evidence of look with your eyes. If you're blind, feel on. You can feel the heat
I think
radiating.
I understand your answer. See, what I would do the intelligent, logical thing and just take them over to the engine and show them the engine. That's what I would do. That way, it's proven
I assumed
and verified.
your question was legitimate, so I didn't have to go that basic. But yeah, sure, I would show them an engine. Sure,
right. That's how you verify that something's real. Is you have them use one or more of their 5 senses that we all have in common to prove that it actually exists in reality. So you would do that with the engine.
Right. That's a fine way to do it. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
I just love the fact that you guys don't understand the atomic level, but you claim to understand these photons that are even fucking smaller.
No one claims to understand photons fully. 100%.
Wait a minute, hold on.
There's still many things that are unknown.
Clearly,
Hold on, man. I've been letting y'all finish. Just calm the fuck down. No one claims to understand photons and these subatomic particles fully, all the way, 100%, no questions, no ambiguity. There are still many things that are not fully understood that are being investigated. Otherwise, it would be a done deal, and we know that it's not finished.
Do you know how many photons are in a pixel?
I have no idea, man. No idea.
Yeah.
Has Rumpus ever allowed for the concept of ambiguity in anything he's ever talked about on this show?
I don't.
I can give a fuck about Rumpus because I'm not Rumpus.
Rumpus
I don't think so, though. I got a question for you, BioDual. Do you buy into this theory that photons are these little tiny particles bouncing around everywhere, like the sun is continually emitting these tiny little things that are shooting out of it and shooting into our eyes and everywhere?
Do I buy into it? Yes, I do, yeah.
Really? How come the sun never gets depleted? It doesn't run out of photons?
It's my understanding that it will deplete at some point, as we witness with other stars that quote unquote burn up, and they lose their intensity, they lose their luminosity. That's my understanding of it.
You've never witnessed that happen
not
with a
smaller
star.
than atoms.
I haven't witnessed it, no.
Hey, just real quick before
you said we.
Photons are not smaller than atoms.
Yeah, just real quick, Brandon.
Yeah, it's a subatomic particle.
Just notice, Brandon.
It's not a particle.
Brandon, just notice.
That's how it's described or attributed.
Come on, guys.
Well, the wavelength of a photon is much bigger than an atom, for instance. And a photon.
Okay, just real quick. Just real quick. Listen, the Greek root for photon just means light.
So what?
A photon is the quantum electromagnetic radiation, while an atom. Hold on. A photon is the quantum of electromagnetic radiation, while an atom is the fundamental constituent of all the matter. Its size may be similar to the size of subatomic particles, like electron, but it's smaller than an atom. So
a photon.
You're wrong. Yeah, you're wrong, Rumpus.
Where does it say that? Because admittedly, it's not well defined, but the wavelength of a photon is much larger than an atom. For
next time, Rumpus says he's always right.
See, he's doing the same thing.
This part out. Clip this part out, Brandon. When Rumpus says he's always right, we can play this back.
Okay.
Well, a photon isn't the size of a photon is not well defined. It has to be said.
Well, I don't know. Fucking Professor Phil knew how many photons were in a pixel last night. So you sure?
Hold on. Well, it depends. What do you mean?
He said he calculated
Pixel-
it, right? So he must know the size. Otherwise, he couldn't calculate how many could fit.
What?
Suck
Well,
a dick.
a
That's
pixel is
all I
something
really
on
gotta
screen.
say.
It's got
They
billions of photons associated with it.
Billions. How many billion? 'Cause he
Well,
had
it
a very
depends on the
specific
intensity.
number.
The pixel is emitting light.
720p.
A pixel is
What if
emitting
we're in
light.
HD 720p?
A pixel is emitting light, and something like a laser thing is emitting something like 10 to the. I did this calculation per second.
Negative-
Something like 10 to the 16. 10 to the 16 photons comes out of a 5 milliwatt laser. So an individual pixel, well, it's going to be billions from photons are coming out of a pixel, but it depends on the intensity of your
Do you concede that photons are smaller than atoms?
Well, I don't think the size is that well defined, but I wouldn't call them a subatomic particle. Then that's a
So
very
you
peculiar
won't
way of
concede.
describing them.
You won't concede, and you're never wrong.
See, I think that's the
Is
part
your
that is still up for debate. Again, Jeremy, like I said, there's many things that we don't understand or know about it. So I think that's one of them. Is what is light? What is photon? What are these things? You're right, and it's being investigated. I think it's classified as a subatomic particle, but I don't think that means that it's
Rumpus
a
came in
mass
like he knew
with
what he was.
shape. I don't think that that's what it means.
Rumpus came in like, hello, you're wrong. They are bigger than atoms.
Hey,
So
Rumpus.
I feel like Rumpus.
Well, the
thinks
wavelength
he
is
knows.
much bigger than an atom, but I don't think they don't have a well-defined size.
Hey,
So
are
the
they
wavelength is-
spherical? Do you know their shape?
What
What shape are they?
photons?
Yeah.
What photons?
Yeah, are they spherical?
Well, I
yeah.
don't. Photons don't have a shape.
Okay. What about
they're
atoms?
they're not particles.
Okay.
Well, that you.
I
could
think they're
describe them
particles when you're within the conversation of particle physicists. I think you can get away with saying that. I think with a layman conversation like this, saying particles invokes something with a shape, mass, and things like that. So I think that's where the disconnect is that we're using terms that have multiple meanings in different settings. And in this setting, we're all retarded. So when we think particle, we think of a mass, shape. That's what we think of, I think.
That's why the devil is lost in the details. You guys make so many qualifications. There's no comprehension.
Well, it's complicated. So something like I say, the size of photon. I mean, I might have been a bit brutal with
Not
about that because I was describing the wavelength, which I think is a reasonable thing to do.
Science is
The
not
photon,
Rumpus.
but a photon, yeah, because it's not well defined. Possibly I was a bit brutal there with bio there.
Yeah,
No,
you should
you're
apologize.
correct.
You
There's
should-
things that we
you
don't
should
understand about it.
apologize
You're
to
right.
him right now. You should
No, we shouldn't.
Just to be
apologize.
clear, they decided to take something that isn't a sphere and then represent it as a sphere in mainstream media so that they can get their point across. Is that what you guys are saying?
Essentially, break it down for us smooth brains. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But listen,
Okay. All right.
listen,
So just to be clear, something that is absolutely not a sphere is represented as a sphere for the masses. Got it.
I'm not saying that it's not a sphere. What I'm saying is that the particular shape is not known if there is a shape, but the way that they represent it for us smooth brains to understand with its interactions within reality is a sphere. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll rephrase
Like they
it
do
then.
with Earth.
A thing
Like
that
they do
has
with
not
Earth.
been proven to be a sphere is represented as a sphere for the masses.
okay, hold
Oh
on.
yeah. So we can
Like they
understand
do with Earth.
its
Like they
interactions
do
and
with
properties. Yeah.
I have
fine.
a question. Bio.
They're not catching what you're putting down,
Bio.
Bob. They're not. I don't think they caught it.
Bio. What?
He's talking about the globe, like the globe. They say it's a sphere. Hello.
Yeah. So, Bio, just real quick, what does smooth brain mean? What does that even mean? Did you make that up?
That means that we're all laymen to this whole conversation, and we might have particular subject matter
Speak
expert
for
knowledge
yourself,
about things,
bro.
but when it comes to this entire conversation, we're all smooth brains because we're not
stop.
experts in all of this. We're all laymen.
Dude, don't
Okay,
project
stop.
your.
Did you make
Don't
that term
project.
up?
No, that's a pretty
project
well
your dumb
understood
shit
term.
onto us.
It's a well understood term. Okay. So, guess what happens to the smooth brains when they see a depiction of a particle as a sphere? Guess what the smooth brains do?
Yeah, they're gonna think it's a sphere. That's fine.
That's right. So why would you? Okay, it makes no sense if you know that something isn't a thing, and you tell someone that that thing is a thing, and you know they're gonna think that what you just told them was reality. That's called deception.
No, it isn't, because I can distinctly remember being taught these things, and it's
There's-
anecdotal for sure. 100% it's anecdotal. But
Very
when I
clear.
was taught these things, I was taught that they don't have the shapes. We never covered shapes. That wasn't a question. What shape is a photon? These weren't covered. It was, here is a representation of what we understand about photons, subatomic particles, and this is how they interact in their properties associated with each one. Never did they say, this is the shape of these subatomic particles. It's just a representation.
And our point is that when you Google something, you're trying to look up something. I think I'm going to look up photons, and they have a picture, and they do not qualify it by saying, do not think of photons as spheres. This is a base
representation.
A base representation that has no semblance to reality. So if
the shape doesn't matter.
Not done. Hold on. So
you got to get
shape doesn't matter.
Quick.
So, dear reader, dear scientist, as you're reading this, if you think at the end of this that photons are spheres, you're an idiot. Okay, this is not what
about the colors? Do they have to specify the colors? What about the texts when it says like parentheses P parentheses on the inside of this spherical photon? Do they also have to say, hey, photons don't have this lettering and punctuation around it either? Do they have to say all those things? Or do they think when you're researching photons and subatomic particles that you might be able to know that that's not the shape, that's not the color, it doesn't have writing? Do they make that assumption?
I don't know, because every single picture that I've found so far of photons, atoms, shows little spheres. Every single one.
Yeah, so
do some of them have
every single
colors?
picture
Some of
has
them have
something in
lettering on
common,
it?
the sphere, and every single picture has other things that aren't in common, like the color or the little letters on there, then it makes sense that people would think that everyone agrees that it's at least a sphere, but the other details aren't necessarily solid. Why do they all seem to agree on the shape as far as their pictures are concerned, but the other details are maybe not exactly the same?
It's just representation. It's easier.
Right,
Is that what they say without the globe too? It's just easier to show it as a ball.
No, false equivalence.
Yeah, it's not for educational purposes. Absolutely, they say that.
Right.
They print it right out.
I mean, it's fun. It's fun to showcase how much we don't know. I think it's fun too.
You do it every day.
Showcase how
You're
much
right.
you don't know.
Makes sense that you think it's fun.
The point is, you guys don't know jack shit when it comes to fucking light or photons or where the straight lines would be to the objects in the distance of picture.
I think we know enough.
Okay, it's fucking bullshit.
I think we know enough at our scale, at the scale that we interact normally every day. I think what you said was actually true, we wouldn't be able to communicate using light, specifically fiber optic cables. I think if what you said was true, we wouldn't have that type of technology.
In a controlled environment, maybe you can do certain things to do it, but when it's out in nature and in the wild, I don't think you can really say what's happening over these long distances in the atmosphere.
We don't understand light so much that we can manipulate and manufacture this technology that allows us to communicate with the other side of the world almost instantaneously, but we don't understand how it works in nature. That's your position, Jeremy?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You
you
don't understand what it
cannot
does.
prove that sunlight and the light that we use for other things are the same. You have no way to prove that.
In your opinion, that's fine.
It's not an opinion. You can't prove it. Otherwise, you would.
Well, in your opinion, there are many things that have been
No,
proven
it's
to you,
not my
but you don't
opinion. You
accept
can't
anyway.
prove it.
So it is
You
just your
literally
opinion.
cannot prove it.
What would you like proven specifically? What's on your mind?
Specifically, prove that light from the sun or any other natural source is the same light that we work with and manipulate in our technology. Prove that it's the exact same thing.
Oh, they come from different sources, but it's still the same interactions and the same properties.
That's what you're claiming. That's what I'm saying. Prove
Right, because
that
we
claim.
can use
You can't.
we can use a laser pointer and show refraction, and we can see the sunlight creating refraction within the water as well. It's
Two
exhibiting
things
the same
being
properties.
able to accomplish. Okay, all right, listen. I can throw a brick through a window and I can throw a baseball through a window, and they both cause the glass to break. So bricks and
Both
baseballs are
solid
the same,
objects
right?
With exhibiting
No.
the same properties. Yes, they're very hard objects.
No, they're not.
And they cause weaker things to break.
But
That's
they're
a
not the
great
same thing,
property,
are they?
yeah.
But they're not the same thing, are they?
They're both solid.
But they're not the same thing, are they?
I guess
They're not
we
made
can
of the same
we can
materials.
we can get real pedantic.
We don't
if
play
you want.
baseball with bricks, do we?
No, but that's your application of it. Just like
this
you
real-
don't use sunlight to do particular things that you do in, let's say, your computer. I can manipulate the colors in my computer, but I can't manipulate the color of the sun. I can't do that. But it's still
Yeah.
light from a different source, and you use it in different
That's your
applications.
claim, sure. You're claiming that these two things that do some similar things, but that you can only manipulate one of, are exactly the same. I understand what your claim is. I'm asking you to prove it.
You can
can't.
manipulate the sun as well. If you bring out a
You can
prism.
manipulate the sun.
Yeah, you can bring out a prism and you can
Oh.
create a rainbow from the light entering from the sun, and then you can also use an artificial white light and shine it through a prism and get a rainbow. What's wrong with that?
The point is,
Both bricks and baseballs are made out of
I tried to
atoms. Both bricks and
You're roboting.
baseballs are made
Roboting.
out of atoms.
you're roboting, Bob.
That's
Was that
the-
Bob? I can't even
Well,
tell.
Is
who
that-
it
it's
Bob?
Bob.
Is
You're
that-
roboting.
Is that a toy from the 90s running out of battery power?
Just,
The point
just add
is,
light to it.
if you wanted to prove which way, we're drawing straight lines to these objects in the distance. If you wanted to prove that at the end of that line is where the object really is, you're not doing it thus far. You haven't proven it by any means.
Right, in your opinion, that's fine.
The point that
Not
I
in my
made was that
opinion.
bricks and baseballs are both made out of atoms. And that's the level that we're
That's
talking
sure?
certainly a claim that is made,
the-
yes.
Yeah, that's a good
Are
point.
you sure
When you're
they're
talking
made
about
out of
the
atoms?
subatomic level of
That's a good
photons,
point.
then you're talking about the atomic level of these solid objects. You're right.
Bob, what
Are they
shape are
solid?
these particles, these atoms? What shape are they? Are they spherical? No.
He
Response?
doesn't know. No one knows.
Bob,
They don't know shit.
As they already said, they're clouds. The band is gonna have to change that song. People, we come together because we are all made of clouds.
Energy clouds. We're all just bunches of energy clouds. Interesting stuff. I won't pretend to know anything about this stuff. I just find it interesting. Especially the
Just
idea that
Brand,
photons
grab
are
it.
little bouncing balls bouncing all over.
Yeah, you pretend to know the shape of it, though, Brandon.
Can you guys hear me?
No.
Yeah, we hear you.
What are you
Hey, what's
talking
up, guys? I was going to say, we know enough about photons to where we can capture them and turn to electricity. You have to know a little bit about something to capture it and turn it into something else.
Sure,
think
as
that's
far as
certainly
where
a
it's
claim you can make.
traveling, though, through the air, over long distances, you guys have, you claim you have an idea, but in reality, you just made it to fit your globe model, and you can't prove that your idea is actual reality, like the millions of other claims you guys make. But
Jeremy, why
that's
do you
beside the point.
ask for temperature values, density values of the atmosphere at different points between you and the object? Why do you ask for those things?
Because I know you don't have them. Even if you did have them,
What I'm saying is, why
listen.
do you ask for them?
because I know you don't have them. And even if you did have them, that's
not a
still
good
wouldn't
reason.
prove it.
I'm asking, why do you
why I
ask
do
for
it.
those?
It doesn't
That's why I
matter
do
if you
it,
think
because
it's
I
a
know
good
you don't-
reason. You asked for his
No,
reason, and
no,
he gave it
because-
to you.
I know you don't have them.
What
No,
the heck?
because it's inconsistent. Because if he were presented those values, there are calculations that you can make for refraction to understand exactly what is going on. So that's why Jeremy knows on one hand that given the values, we can make these predictions and confirm them. But on the other hand, he also says we don't know shit
Not
about
a
long
prediction.
distance light traveling.
You can't confirm them. If you did, how would you confirm that the mountain
You're
is at
talking
the
out
end of
both
the line?
sides of your mouth, Jeremy. Either we don't understand, so stop asking for the values, or we do understand, so you can continue asking for the values.
Okay, you're making multiple claims, so I have to break down every claim at a time. So your first claim is that you know how refraction works, and the second claim is that the light is bending in these photos the way you say it is, right? So I can't break down your whole bullshit at one time, in one moment, in one sentence.
Do we understand how light works as far as bending in particular directions given different values of, let's say, density, temperature, all these things? Do we understand that part?
Maybe to a small degree, not anything over long distances in the atmosphere.
Why would the distance
nothing
matter?
over-
If we know what bends light, we know what bends light, and
Why
we
would
can get
distance
particular
matter?
values over a distance. What what is stopping us because of a long distance rather than a short?
Is it exponential or is it bending at a linear rate?
No. I'm asking you.
That's why distance matters. I'm telling you why
Jeremy.
distance. I'm
Jeremy, I'm
telling
asking
you why
you.
distance.
What matters?
I'm telling you why it matters. I'm telling you why distance matters. Is it exponential or linear?
You can't tell me by asking a question.
Is distance going to matter if it's linear or exponential?
I'm asking you, Jeremy. Does
yes,
distance
I'm telling
matter?
you why. Because if it's linear or exponential, the distance is going to matter.
Yeah, but whether it's exponential, linear, or quadratic, any of these things, what makes it so difficult or impossible to do it at long distances? We know how quadratic graphing works. We know how linear graphing. We know exponential.
What do you mean by
we
long?
understand all these things. So what I'm saying is, at what distance are you saying we can't do that?
At any.
Do it in
whatever distance we can't go.
So arbitrarily.
Past.
I'm sorry, Jeremy.
You can't do it in. No, you can't do it past anything you can draw a straight line to, because after that point, once you can't draw a straight line anymore, you've lost the ability to prove that
bollocks
where that
object
is
Jeremy.
in relation to the
maths can cope with arbitrary
you've lost
functions.
the ability to
it doesn't
Rumpus.
matter
Once you lose the hold on, Rumpus, hold on. Once you've lost the ability to draw your straight line to the object, you've now lost the ability to tell where it is in relation to that straight line, to where the light is.
I think that's an excellent point. I think that is an excellent point.
Rubbish point.
That's a great answer, actually.
If you know what the bending is, you can work out where it is.
Right, yes.
Like, if you want to do this
if you
in a
assume
fish tank,
curve and then do your calculations, then you can account for it. If you make assumptions first. We already know that. If you make assumptions first, you can basically do anything that you want. That's what assumptions allow you to do, is act however you want to.
It's accounting for all the variables involved.
It's assumed.
You never
variables.
You seem to be stuck in the land, Jeremy, where only lines make sense to you because your little brain can't cope with anything more complicated. The rest of science can.
Am I a smooth brain, Rumpus?
Yeah, Jeremy, your straight lines need to curve more. Duh.
The world is full of non-straight things, Jeremy, and we can account for that.
Speak for yourself, Rumpus.
Yeah, I know you can't account for it, perhaps. That's your problem. Science can.
Oh, Rumpus.
I can't even deal with it.
It's so basic. I mean,
I'm
Jeremy can
drained.
only cope with things with straight lines, and he doesn't seem to realise there are a lot of many cleverer people over hundreds of years been working on this and can deal with curves, and we can deal with the positions of things, like when we're shooting things with battleships firing guns. We can cope with refraction when you're working using a sextant.
Take your gay lines and go home.
You can allow for the curvature of the light. I mean, it's just so simple.
So you're telling me they're accounting for refraction on when they're on battleships?
Yes, they have to allow for refraction when they're doing this stereoscopic sighting. I mean, obviously, these days we use bloody radar, and even then that still gets refracted. You can cope.
So how are they making the adjustments for the refraction on battleships? Are we just shooting and missing, or?
Well, no. You've got to get your first shot right. So even if they're shooting over 15 miles. Even in the First World War, they used to have these analog computers that would allow them to pump in the conditions, including Coriolis.
We're obviously talking line of sight, Rumpus. Come on.
They always walk in the
15
round.
miles
they
line
fire
of sight.
one, it misses, then they adjust fire. That's what adjust fire is.
No, they don't know.
Almost every time you have to adjust fire. No, not always.
Okay, you have to make some small. Yeah, but you can get close with the first shot.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and they do that by making allowances for everything. And when you
well, it only counts as grenades.
Which they learn by testing. Rumpus, they learn by testing where the round is going to land. They do it by testing.
Sextants have to allow for refraction, so they give them a decent measurement.
A number of rounds, figure out where they land. Moving it one notch this way makes it go this way so much. Moving one notch this way makes it go this way. They've got to start off in the right place,
Brandon. They've got to start off in the right place.
No, they don't.
As long as they can. Randomly.
No, as long as they can know, based on the settings of the weapon, where the round is going to land, based on the test fires that they do before they ever release the weapon system.
That's not good enough. You have to allow for Coriolis, you have to allow for refraction. No, they can't.
They got a refraction table?
All the conditions. You can't just say, we think of this far away, that'll do. If you've seen a firing table, they are incredibly complicated analog machines, even World War One.
I have
and they're
seen
counting
yes,
for
they
refraction.
They assume all that stuff. I know they assume all that stuff, and then they do test firing, and then they adjust their equations to match the results of the test firing.
No, you've
That's how
got
they do it.
This is
They
where
don't
you got
adjust the
confused.
equation, Brandon.
No, it's
This is
not
where
where
you
I
got
got confused. It's where you didn't
You
understand
did
what I
get
was saying.
confused. You got it completely wrong on conspiracy cats. You didn't understand the paper that you were reading.
I
It was
totally
completely
understood
wrong.
it.
What
His
you
argument
no,
was
you didn't
nonsense. I didn't
understand it
waste my
at
time
all.
responding to it because he didn't
No,
even
you didn't
understand what I was saying.
understand. You didn't understand that at all. You completely misunderstood what they were doing in that
He
paper.
did a little shucking and jiving and some
Yeah, he
bullshit
didn't know
argument,
either,
and you bought
but
right
you got it
into
wrong as well. Yeah, he didn't know, and neither did you. I did. And
No.
I read
Of
that
course
paper
you
while
did,
you were having that
Rumpus.
debate,
Shut
and
the
I
fuck
knew,
up, man.
and I predicted
You
what
are-
you got wrong, and you got it completely wrong.
I didn't. Though,
Shut
actually.
up. Just shut up.
You're linear, Jeremy. I think from now on we'll just call you the man who can only cope with straight lines.
Well, how do you know if
Why?
it's
My name
linear
is
or
concentric
exponential?
circles.
Rumpus,
My name is
he
fucking
asked.
concentric circles.
He asked, is
Well,
it
you can't. You
linear
should take
or
it
is
away. You
it
should call yourself Mr. Linear.
exponential? And no one answered. You just started insulting him. So if you do it on a small scale, let's say you do it in a lab, you shoot a laser beam through fucking salt water or whatever, and you come up with some refractive index. How do you know when you apply it over long distances if it is linear or exponential or what
Because we've tested it.
relationship
It has
is?
utility. We know
How do
the
you
systems
test it
work.
without making a straight line to the object? You have no way to test it.
Yes, you do. You make allowances for it. With the real world, the scientists and engineers can cope
Shut
with
the
non-straight
fuck up. You're
things.
already starting off
You
with the fucking word salad.
Yeah.
No, you just
Give a
you've got this
specific
idea
answer
in your
for
head.
fuck's sake,
The curves
Rumpus.
are somehow mysterious to us.
He's asking how they did it. Give us some specifics on how it's done, how it's tested. We've been asking for this for a long time. How did they do
what's the
it?
here? Do what? What are you talking? Exactly what's the question?
You know what the fuck we're talking about.
Validate the
What's the
model over
what?
long distances.
To do what?
To see where the light's bending over long distance. You guys say it's bending like X. How did you prove X?
Well,
Are you?
this has been
you're
the subject
fucking
of refraction research, and people like Thomas Young have been doing this for 25 years. And we know where things are, and we know where they appear to be, and we take measurements of the
More
the
obfuscation,
temperature
word
profiles,
salad,
and we can
scientist,
say
body of science.
you're just a
Andrew
science
Thomas
denier.
Young.
We can
No,
check
there
this.
you go. You just
We
proved
know
him
where
right.
things are in reality.
You proved him
we
right.
know where they appear, and we can see if the equations give us the right answer, and they do.
How do you know it's the right? Oh, I can't.
Right,
I
look,
can't.
Jeremy, we
Go
know
ahead,
where
Brandon.
things are
Just
in the
go.
real world, don't we? Jeremy, we
Well,
know where
well
things
then,
are in the
okay.
real world.
Hey, Rumpus, then Brian's model's just fine too, because he can calculate where things are with his
Well, he'll get calculations
horizontal
to be wrong.
refraction plane model
get
or
it
whatever
wrong.
he's calling it.
He
No,
won't. He'll get it wrong. His
no, he gets
calculations
the right
will be
answer.
wrong.
His calculations
No,
are
he
just
won't.
as good
No,
as
he won't.
yours.
What are you
Okay,
talking
well,
about to be wrong? It's a non-linear. It's a non-linear model, just like your
There are lots
raised.
of non-linear ways
like
of
the
doing
rate-
things, Brian. You can't just say, I've used a non-linear model, I've got the right answer, I'm
Why not?
afraid.
It's
Don't tell me
predictive.
it's wrong.
It's a predictive
It won't
model.
be right.
Prove
I
it.
guarantee whatever Brian's done will not be correct.
Oh, this is another
it is.
attack the
It's
messenger
his
thing. Here.
thing, so it's
I
right.
absolutely guarantee it. Brian has never had his thing tested. These science papers that make these predictions and understanding of the way light works in the atmosphere have been tested and verified by
How?
hundreds of
He
examples.
did that too with George, and then I made my few adjustments. It's fucking spot on, dude.
If you can't draw a straight
Brian
line to
did
the
it.
object in the distance, how do you verify?
So what, Jeremy? We
How
can
have
draw
you
a
tested
curve.
it?
We can,
Just real quick.
we can cope with curves. The rest of the science, you might not be able to cope with a curve. I mean,
I can
presumably
cope
you're
with
in
a
the
curve.
Oakley.
How do you
Presumably you're
know
in the
how bad
Oakley
the curve
clan
is?
that doesn't understand a curve can meet a surface at a tangent. You're presumably
Hey, Rumpus,
that ignorant of geometry.
just a real
Listen,
quick question,
why
Rumpus.
you-
So
Go
Andrew
ahead.
Thomas Young, as you know, has a copious bibliography. Copious, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do none of his citations include scientific examples of experiments and validation of tests?
They got
Hey,
nothing.
Rumpus, how
That's
you been
why you're
doing,
full
man?
of shit.
Well,
You're so full of shit. It's
okay, you're
fucking
making a claim
unbelievable,
about the
Travis.
concept of bibliography that they. I mean, surveyors use these things. They may allow for bending. When we
Correct.
shoot shells, we make it, and these things work. We
That's
know
correct.
we get the right answers.
All you're doing is just parroting the rhetoric. Again, listen.
Just
That's
science.
all
It's
he's
just
got.
fact. You're parroting reality at you. Yeah.
Listen, I have spent enough time clicking his hypertext links to look at his citations. He cites guys from from anywhere from 100 to 200 years ago in
He
French,
does.
German, and Spanish. Okay, so
Yeah, he does indeed.
okay. Shush. He's quoting people, but there are no experiments. All he's doing is quoting people who parrot the narrative of what they think they are describing accurately. Everything that Andrew Thomas Young is a description. It has no validation that you or I could look up. Please, Mr. Andrew Thomas Young, where's your link for the scientific experiment where they validated this shit? It doesn't exist.
I mean, I honestly think all you would need is even just a measurement for that. You just need to make a straight line to the object in the distance and say, oh, okay, we thought the light was bending like this. It is bending like this, or it's not bending like this. But when you can't draw a straight line to it, you have no idea where the fucking object is in relation to the straight line.
You know where the object
you're in no
is.
position. Hold on,
Yeah,
Rumpus.
we are. We know where objects are, Jeremy.
I'm in the middle
We know
of my
where
fucking
objects
thing.
are. And then we can see where they appear to be. And then we can look at our equation and say,
Rumpus.
oh, great. Where it appears to be exactly matches where our equation said it should appear to be.
Yeah, how do you know where it really is if you haven't
Oh, my
drawn a
God.
straight
I'll say
line
it
to
again. We know where things are in the geography of the Earth. We know where that Eiffel Tower is. We know where we might be observing it from. And we know when we take an image of it where it appears to be and whether it matches the theory. Jesus Christ.
What theory?
The theory of how light is refracted in the atmosphere. If you know the conditions, you know the temperature gradient, these things are used to do various things that if they didn't work would have surveyors, battleship firing people in the First World War up in arms, demanding something that worked.
Yeah. They'd have surveyors all confused thinking we live on a spherical object when it's really a flat, motionless plane.
So
I
you're
hear
a
you.
surveyor denier now as well as a science denier.
I don't deny
Just
science.
so happens that all the
you
maps
guys are the
you've got,
science denier.
Jeremy,
I'm a
so now-
pseudoscience denier.
You do realise the
I'm a
maps you use.
pseudoscience. Shut the
You
fuck
do
up.
realise
Rumpus.
that all the maps you use are
Rumpus!
created by surveyors, don't you? So you're now denying that maps
denier.
work. So you're a
Science
map
denier,
denier
Rumpus.
now.
Oh my God, you're spiraling, bro.
No, it's just basic. If you think surveyors are somehow confused, getting the wrong answers, then all the maps which are
This is a
created by
red
geodetic
herring, a
surveyors.
tangent you're trying to go down. Hey, why do you
Well,
keep
no, he
saying
was
that
saying
bit
that
about
surveyors
the
are
World
does.
War One? Why
I'm
do you
trying
keep
to
why do you keep
demonstrate
saying
to
that
you.
World War One bit about?
Because it
do you
just
think
tells you
they?
how far-
Did you think they had pinpoint accuracy in World War One from battleships, dude?
It was pretty good.
No,
They used to be able to hit them at
maybe
15
they got
miles.
lucky. It wasn't pinpoint accuracy.
Well, obviously there's a variation in the way the winds work and things. You can't be absolutely right, but they certainly got very close. If not, I mean, that's how they used to sink ships at 15 miles.
I bet you don't even know shit about fucking ballistics during World War One.
I know a lot about ballistics.
Anecdotal shit
I
you
know
read
a
about.
lot about ballistics. I know a lot about ballistics.
In World War One ballistics, you're an expert in World War One ballistics.
The way a shell behaves in World War One is the same way a shell behaves in World War Two and now.
So you're just then why do you keep bringing up World War One?
Because I'm demonstrating how far long ago we knew that taking these things in. I mean, it's in World War One that we first started to really have analog computers that could make the calculations that Jeremy seems interested in.
If they were so
Before
good, why do we
World
keep
War
working on targeting systems? Why are we still working on targeting systems?
Well, the trouble is, if you miss a battleship by just 50 meters over a distance of 50 miles, you've missed it. So unfortunately, you still
That's fucking
so
profound.
those firing tables will get you within,
If you missed the battleship, you missed it. You got any more genius shit for
so
us?
you've got it's the first shot that's important. If you get, I mean, something like when Bismarck and the Hood encountered one another, the Bismarck got the first salvo landed within about 100 meters, and the second one hit.
I told you it was anecdotal bullshit.
What? You don't believe that?
I told you it was anecdotal bullshit. This one, he's going to tell us a story about Bismarck. This is what you're basing this whole thing on.
You wouldn't.
Isn't it?
You wouldn't. No, it's not. No, that's just an incidental thing. It's just like because you like sort of practical demonstrations, and that's one of them. But surveyors have to understand how refraction works. There are a lot.
If they didn't, they would think we live on a sphere when we're really on a flat, motionless plane.
Well, that's because you're a science and surveying and map denier, Jeremy.
A map denier?
We have the pictures, if nothing else. We have both defending behind. We can't have sunsets on a flat Earth. Every Polaris
that's
work
a
only works on a
2016
sphere.
argument.
There is
Can't
no
sunset.
evidence you've got for a flat Earth at all. Not one bit of evidence.
All
no,
the
that's
evidence points
going
towards
a
the
little
flat Earth.
far there, Rumpus. Not one
Yeah,
bit.
all
of
the
evidence. Come on.
evidence.
You have none, zero.
Literally, all the
Zero,
evidence
zero,
points towards the
zero.
flat Earth.
Every bit of
Everything.
evidence you
Points
ever
towards the flat
present
Earth.
confirms the globe.
Every single second of my life has confirmed a flat, motionless plane.
Well, that's because you're
ever
immune to
taken-
sense and rational evidence.
Listen.
You're willfully misinterpreting it.
You mean I don't? I have a lack of imagination. Is that what it is?
Lack of understanding.
Imagination.
No, lack of understanding. You don't.
Imagination.
I'm with can't understand
I mean,
his
so like,
imagination.
for instance, just a basic thing. Everything in the southern hemisphere, south points in different directions on the flat Earth model, but it only points in one direction on the globe model. So I mean, just that fundamental, the distance between Argentina and Australia on a flat Earth model has to be much bigger than the one that we actually
Dude,
measure.
you don't know how the sky
planes
works.
do.
You don't
I mean, there's
know where
these
the
simple things
continents
that
are
completely
placed
destroy the
on
flat Earth.
the map.
I missed what you said, Jeremy. You overtalked me.
Yeah, how do you like it?
Well, you do it to me more than I do
You don't
to
know
you.
how the sky. You don't know how the sky works.
You do.
You don't know where the continents are. No, you don't, man. You think you do.
No, we don't.
We're here to correct your misconception on a
fly
lot
there.
of things, Rumpus.
GPS.
Right, we're here for you.
Oh, I flew somewhere. Earth is sphere.
We're here for you, Rumpus. We're here to clear up all the misconceptions you have of reality.
I'm
all right, we're
busy
gonna get you straightened out. We're gonna get you straightened out someday, Rumpus. It's only a matter of time before we get you all straightened out from all your misconceptions and assumptions about how reality works.
Well, if my curvature test does show that there's no drop, then I'll be jumping off that bridge, and you'll be able to see it in action. But
When are you going to do that?
Test,
Make sure you get
your
that film
curvature
from like
test
5
is
different angles,
dumb.
Rumpus.
I will. Don't worry. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get onto before I do it. I'll get on the edge of the bridge and I'll stand there in my swimming trunks to say this is what I might be
Is
doing.
your curvature test? Hold on. Is your curvature test? Hold on. Is your curvature test going to have anything to do with optics, the way light's bending? And you're just going to presuppose that light's doing what you think it is and say, "Oh, look, it's a sphere."
Well, I must admit, I haven't quite fully worked out how I'm going to allow for refraction, but I am going to know the temperature gradient, so I'm going to know what the physics should say should be happening, and then we'll see if it agrees with what we actually see.
So you're going to presuppose that light's doing this certain thing, and then you're going to say, "Look, it matches a sphere."
Well, I'm going to say this is what the effect refraction will be. This is where the post in the 6 miles away should appear in the theodolite. And if it matches that exactly, I'm going to say, yes, we've made all the accounts that we need to make for the conditions. And we get the result we want. But we know for a start, we know for a fact that on a flat Earth, it will be very different what I will see.
Unless the light's bending in a way different than what you think it is.
Well, the sort of bending you're talking about that requires this sinking thing does not happen very much. And only
It
happens
doesn't. You don't know what it is. It could be something weird you don't even know about.
You're right. That's your job to figure it out. So when you have an actual theory
It's not my job.
bring it to us.
It's not my job to figure it out. It's your guys' job.
You're not interested in that, Bob the what?
Bob the what?
Bob the what? You're not interested in theories.
I can demonstrate the physics says, because I'm going to be taking temperature profiles.
Physics doesn't say anything. Who's physics? What does
You're a
physics
physics
say?
denier as well, are you?
This is a reification fallacy. No, this is a.
So this is your standard line, is it? When you've got a bit of physics or reality
aside.
aside.
What's their name?
So this is the
What's
way you
physics
convert
name?
being a science denier.
Where does physics live?
This is your
What's
code for
physics
science
home
denying, is it?
address?
So instead of saying I deny science, you're going to say it's a reification. That's your synonym.
What color
for
car
science
does
denying.
physics drive to work?
Sorry?
What's physics' favorite food? You got a reification fallacy going on with physics.
Right, you don't like the idea of me saying science says, presumably, that sort of thing. That's the thing you're objecting to, is it?
That's right, because science doesn't speak.
It's a textbook reification fallacy, but go ahead.
Rather than me saying the scientific literature has this, that, and the other, it's quite normal to say science says, the body of science says this. Just like we say the law says. Do you have a problem with saying the law says? Do you have a problem with that phrase? You've shut up, haven't you? You don't have a problem with it, do you?
It's a reification. I do. It's a reification fallacy.
It's a pathetic attack.
If I was debating someone, on the law, I would have a problem with
I'm not allowed to use the phrase "science says." I could.
You have so many reification fallacies.
Way of saying this is what the scientific literature describes X, Y, Z. So it's much easier to say science says, just like we say the law says, or economic.
I'm just pointing out your fallacies. Relax. That's your fourth one since you've been here today.
It's not a fallacy. You're just that's just code for you being a science denier. You're just trying to have a disdain for science. You can't.
It's actually
Jeremy,
it's
you
pretty
can't
apt
argue
that you would
against
use
science.
the
So you
law as
argue
an
against the
example or
phraseology you
comparison
don't
for
happen to
science.
like.
A bunch of people got
phraseology
together and
will
agreed
accept
on what
the
should be
law.
put down on paper, right?
Oh, God.
Just like the law.
I can't take
A bunch of people got together and agreed what should be put down on the paper. It's a good idea. It's good that you use that comparison, the law and science.
Is verified by
It's a bunch of people getting together and
Not an
writing something down
opinion.
on paper and agreeing on
Not
it.
an opinion. It's verified by reality. That's the difference about science.
Does
Well,
calling
that's the
something
It's not
thing.
verified by reality. They're supposed to be.
Does calling something a
Everybody
logical fallacy
checks science
disprove it?
against reality. Individual
Everybody.
observation.
Everybody checks.
Really?
Scientific institutions around the world. If someone in a scientific institution
Brandon,
found
ask that question about the peer review process.
The authorities
you did
that he
yesterday,
appeals
Brandon.
to around the world.
Brandon, ask that peer review question you asked yesterday.
Because we have
Ask
peer review in
Rumpus.
science, we know that things are valid.
Yeah. They're always checking it. They're always checking it against
Exactly,
reality.
correct.
Ask him the question, Brandon.
What was the? I
Hold
don't
on.
remember it. What was it?
How many
Which one?
peer-reviewed things can
Oh,
be
yeah.
validated?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What percentage?
But as
of
I told you, there will be errors, but the point is it only goes into mainstream science.
No, they're not
after
even
years-
checking. Shut up and let them ask
Even
the question.
after
Just shut up.
years and years of verification. So
There
it's,
will be
even
errors
if
They're
there
not
there.
is an
verifying jack
even
shit.
if there's an error or even a percent, even if let's suppose 10% of all scientific articles are wrong in some way, they only enter mainstream science after decades of being agreed and verified by hundreds of thousands of institutions around the world.
That's nice. Does
Just like
anything
Einstein
ever
took
make it
15
into mainstream science and get accepted by those hundreds of institutions around the world that turns out to be completely wrong?
Don't think so.
What about there was a good example that someone brought up last night, which was I think it was Geo. That
Ether.
using
theory was a
marijuana.
good example.
Ether's a good one. Using marijuana causes brain damage. Do you remember when that was pushed as science?
Well,
Morning.
yeah, that's unfortunately that's based upon what happens to the human brain. That's not really very difficult to verify. That sort of thing, science would say that's very provisional, and they have lots of studies on that sort of wobbly sort of thing. It's not like, if we drop something, it's going to fall at this rate, or for instance, the behavior of light, which is something that's objective and material, whereas whether or not it damages someone's brain and how...
It's not
then
objective.
You've got human behavior as to how much marijuana...
okay.
You can't do a proper experiment on
So
something
how do we know when the things that we're being told are part of the body of science are provisional and not to be taken seriously? And how do we know when they think that there's facts? And who is the ultimate authority for science, Rumpus?Ho is the ultimate authority for
There's a
science?
peer review. All the institutions around the world do these same experiments, and they decide whether they agree or not. But think something like your marijuana.
You
thing.
never answered that question,
Brandon.
Ask him the peer
Like
review
the marijuana
question,
point you brought up.
He
we
thinks
can't.
peer review's validating
cannot,
this shit.
we
Hold on,
cannot
Rumpus.
set aside
hold on
1,000 people and say give them marijuana under experimental conditions, and then take another
Brandon,
1,000.
he's still under the
You're
assumption
going
that
off on a
peer review
tangent.
is
It's just an
verified.
example of something that they had.
That's not susceptible to proper
That's
experiment.
fine.
The
So-
example you gave.
That's fine. So what percentage
He still
of
thinks
peer-reviewed papers turned out not to be replicable?
You could do that.
Repeatable.
Well, that doesn't make them wrong, does it? That's different from being not correct. Whether
You
they'll be able
said
to
we're
replicate it,
constantly.
that
Peer
is
review has
different.
nothing to do with
Hold on,
whether or
there's a
not
difference
something's right or
between
wrong.
not being
No.
able to replicate something. For instance, there are several experiments that
Did you
people
hear what Bob
weren't able
just
to
said,
replicate.
Rumpus?
Oh my God, no, I
Bob
didn't.
just
because you
said
keep on
that
interrupting
peer
me.
review has nothing to do with whether something is right or wrong. Do you agree?
No.
Hmm.
Peer review.
How do they know
is
it's
the
right
process
if
by which we check that we know some.
They're not checking.
Well, let's
They're
let Bob.
not
Let's let
checking.
Bob and
That's
Rumpus
how
work this
it
out.
works.
Let's let
If
these
one
two work this
scientific
out.
institution says X
I'm good.
and another scientific institution says no, not X, then there's a big problem in science, and they then have to sort of do the experiments, whatever they did, to come to those conclusions, and
not doing the
eventually there will become an
experiments.
answer. Unless it's
Rumpus,
something
you're
that's some
confusing
bit
peer
of,
review
some
with
bit of,
verification and
whether a dark hole,
repeatability.
black hole or something behaves in a particular way, you can't. But anything that can be tested properly and easily in an experiment, we can come up with a result. things that are still provisional, very provisional, like speculation about how the universe, for instance, started, whether it did start with a big bang or not. We can just get more evidence one way or the other, and then someone says, I've got more evidence of this, and they're not emphatic about it being definite. They just say, I've got more evidence of this, and someone else says no.
So where
there
is
are
the
different
book
bits
where
of
all the things that you are definitely 100% sure of written down in, and who is the authority of that book? The ultimate
Hold on,
authority of
science gives us
science.
things.
There is no person you can
Science
go to.
gives us things that are definitive, Rumpus.
Say again?
Science gives us things that are definitive, you just said?
Well, there are some things that science are more confident. Things like the marijuana thing.
So
no,
not
I've no doubt-
definitive. They don't give us anything definitive, or do they?
Yeah, there are lots of definitive things, yes.
So proven. Science proves things.
No, that is validated and verified. We cannot prove
So
we're not.
definitive and proven aren't the same things.
Correct.
Are you high tonight?
No, you're just trying to find a sneaky way out of the problem I'm giving you. You
I
don't
just
seem to understand the difference between something that all the evidence says that something works in a particular way, and we've never found an exception. But the point is, we could all be living inside the matrix. So we cannot say with the philosophical, logical proof that that is a proof. You don't seem to understand the difference between a logical deductive proof, which we base our stuff on induction in the real world, where we say, for instance, we cannot prove that the sun will not turn up tomorrow. We cannot say for a fact that the sun will turn up tomorrow. That's not something we can say it's very, very likely. All the evidence we've got is that it will do.
You're a pseudoscience guru right now, just spewing out shit.
No, you just don't understand how science works. We've demonstrated you've not had any scientific education in your life. I keep on teaching you basic things, and you don't understand that science does not prove things. You get basic things about science completely wrong.
As soon as the last scientist died, they wrote the new law, science cannot prove anything. I just have a real quick question for you, Rumpus. Do mirages obstruct objects behind them?
They can do.
Do they? That is, can they? Hold on.
Well, from a person who's an observer, this is something I've been saying for a year. Inferior mirages will obscure the thing that's directly behind them.
They can
in the
block.
line of sight.
Hold on. That is, there could be something farther in the distance in the mirage that you cannot see because the mirage is obstructing it. That's what I'm asking you. Is that possible?
Yeah, and I've demonstrated, and I've shown you examples of this with my wind turbine. I've just shown you about 20, 30 times where I'm telling you specifically that the bottom of the wind turbines are obscured by a small inferior mirage, and therefore you can't see the bottoms of the wind turbine.
Right. You know that that's true?
He has no way to validate that because he can't draw straight lines to that.
We know that inferior mirages obscure what's behind them.
Okay, so then it's provable. Thank you.
Well, prove in the sense of we're assuming that we're not in the matrix or we're not brains in a vat proof. We can do it via induction and say.
You just flipped on the pseudoscience bullshit meter right now.
No, you don't understand about logic and philosophy, do you? You seem
no
to
one
miss
here
out all
thinks
education
we're a brain in a vat or anything. We're not talking about that. That's like an extreme
That's what
case.
we are. That's what we mean by proof. When you use the word proof, you mean that it's like 1 + 1 = 2. You can prove that mathematically.
I can prove that.
No doubt that it is. But what we can't do is prove that we're living in a real universe. We can't prove that.
I can prove that mirages block objects behind them.
No, you don't. You don't know that invisible green pixels are not in your brain making up images there.
Okay, you would have to have a reason to assert that theory. You have none.
No, you don't. You can say that's a possibility. If you can't disprove it, you have to say that's a possibility. You cannot disprove the possibility of invisible green pixels in your head making up images you're seeing.
Again, Rumpus, you're triggered into the pseudoscience bullshit.
No, it's not. It's basic philosophy and logic. You don't understand basic logic.
Okay, listen.
Rumpus, it wouldn't.
Listen, hold on, just real quick, Jeremy. Listen, Rumpus, as much as you don't agree with me, I've been on the field for 3 years taking these pictures, okay, and shooting these videos and watching them over and over and over again.
And you've misunderstood them. And gradually you've learned a little bit more year on year, but you're still not there.
Rumpus, I wasn't finished. I can show you a mirage where you cannot see an object behind it. And then I can show you that mirage breaking up and there's the object. Okay, there's nothing to explain with green pixies.
There is. I
Okay,
agree with you. All the evidence you've got there suggests that what you're saying is correct, and I actually agree with you.
That's
But
it.
I can't. But I can't. You can't disprove
you
the
can,
possibility of invisible green pixies in your head,
Oh,
making this all
Robert,
up in your head.
even you can say with certainty.
No, you
absolutely,
can't. You
Yes,
don't understand the philosophy of this. You don't
He's
understand the
taking
logic
things
of
to
this.
extreme, Travis.
No, but that's-
He's sucking us
let me
into
just-
an argument that's
make a comment.
Brandon,
he's
that's what
technically
proof
right, but
is. Proof
I do.
is extreme.
I think we should ask
he
because
doesn't
I
know
think
what
you're making up
proof
a
is. He
great
doesn't
point,
understand
Travis,
what
about the
knowing is, things like that.
mirages. That's actually, I'll give Rumpus credit because he's gone up against some other people, such as Bearded Devil, who makes some crazy excuses why mirages aren't obstructing things in the background.
Bearded
And
Devil-
Rumpus has gone up against them.
Bearded Devil-
And I'm curious what Bob, the science guy, he just dropped out, didn't he? Just was I was going to ask him that.
Bearded Devil is with Travis and the Ether Band. I mean, Bearded just calls it the thermal layer, but I mean, Bearded and Travis are on the same page.
No,
No.
Travis is Travis is gradually learning bit by bit over the years what's and I must I blame myself.
This is going to be
I
a
promised to give him
backhanded
I
compliment.
promised to give him a document to explain all this, and I haven't done so for 6 months. So I blame myself partly for this. But he did express an interest, but he's still only just beginning to learn the basics of how this all operates. But the principle is that indeed inferior mirages can obscure things, but let's go back to this proof thing. I think clearly people on this panel are not familiar with the concept. Brandon said it was extreme what I was doing, but that's what the word proof means. That this is absolutely guaranteed, no matter what, to be true. That's
Nope.
what a logical proof
That's
is.
not what it means.
So 1 + 1 = 2.
That's not what proof
can
is.
be proved.
That's not what proof
logically.
is.
It
That's
is
not
what proof is.
If that's
That
what it
is what
means to
proof
you,
is.
Rumpus,
Nope.
that's fine.
That
I just
is
think
what
that
proof is.
That's not, it
Go and
can't
look
mean
up
that.
the definition
Nope.
of proof.
Cannot mean that.
It can mean that. That's what it does.
Nope.
Go and read a book
Well-
on logic, for Christ's sake. Go and look up the Wikipedia
All right.
page.
I don't need to read your book to know that's not what it means.
Let me just make
You
a
don't
statement
understand
about this.
philosophy and logic.
Hold on,
That's
Rumpus.
obvious.
Hold on. Let me just make a statement about your brains in vats or living in a simulation or whatever fairy tale world you want to think that we could possibly be in. Even if we all are brains in vats or in a simulation, and Travis, we take a picture and we see something, we're all seeing it. So it's not like us being in a simulation would affect.
You've no
what's
idea
going
we're
on.
real. Jeremy, you've no idea whether we're real
It's
people.
real to us. It doesn't matter.
I know it's real
to
to
us.
you, but it could just be you being a brain of that being fed information from the outside world. Or you could be a piece of software. You
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
it's real
There is
to
no
all of us.
test that you can make. There is no test or logical thing that you can do to determine whether your sensory system is giving you genuine, valid information or not.
I'm telling you,
have
it
to
doesn't
rely on
matter.
what's coming in via your senses, and that could be coming in via you being in a brain of that or as a software simulation.
Rumpus, it doesn't matter if we have a banana. If we're in a room and there's a banana there, right?
You don't
And
know
I
it's
give you the
banana.
banana. Yeah, I have a banana. I take a bite. I give it to you. You take a bite.
No, but I'm in your
We
imagination.
can see the banana.
Jeremy,
Just hold on.
I'm not real either. I am the
Okay, then-
construct of the software.
Just hold on. We have the banana, right? As far as both of us are concerned, there's a banana in the room, whether we're in a simulation or not.
You're imagining me talking to you now. You're imagining
That's
a banana.
stupid.
You're imagining the
That's
senses.
stupid. Are you a real
It's
person? I know
not.
I'm a real person.
Imagine
don't do
living
that.
your life actually thinking that.
This is basic philosophy. I mean, you're
real
just
quick,
demonstrating a lack of
How
knowledge
do
about
you
philosophy.
Hey,
function?
Rumpus, how are you doing? Hi, how are you doing, Rumpus?
John's going to
Rumpus, are
clear
you
this
a
all up.
solipsist?
I'm
really?
doing worse now that you've turned up, that's for sure.
Are you
Oh,
a
shit.
Rumpus?
Don't be nasty.
So, Jeremy, you don't seem to understand. Go and look up.
So just to be clear, everybody, Rumpus is okay with genocide because you can't prove absolutely that it's wrong. He's cool with that.
No, I'm
But
not.
Rumpus was talking to me, so I will listen.
No, I wasn't talking to you. I just want to make the point. You see, this is the sort of reinterpretation. This is sort of QE style interpretation of what I said. If you take the word, this is why I'll say something. This is why casually I might use the word proof in science. If you prepare to accept that what we perceive about the real world is the real world, that our senses are giving a genuine representation of reality, then you can say You know, can slip into casually using the word proof when you really shouldn't.
If you accept anything else, you're mentally retarded.
You cannot. You obviously don't know anything about philosophy and
The-
logic.
the
You
point
need to
is,
go and read
Rumpus.
it up. We need to go and read up on it. You
Rumpus, the
don't
point is,
understand the basis of this.
yeah, the point is, if we're both in a room, we're both going to agree that, you know,
I'm
if we
imagining
take
I've been
bites
made
of the
up by
banana.
computer, Jeremy. I'm
If
not there.
that's the
You're
case,
imagining me
then
talking to you now.
I wish I was. I wish I was,
That
Rumpus.
could be the
point
case.
is,
You could be a little program imagining Brandon, me, and
even
everybody
if
else.
that is the
Brian.
case, listen, even if that is the case, we're both going to agree
We're not both.
that there is a banana.
There's no both here, Jeremy. I'm not here. Only
You
you.
are. You're talking to me right now.
No,
You're
that's
not
you
here.
being the software. The software's feeding that into
Even
your
if
brain.
that is the case, it's irrelevant because there's still a banana in the room and we can both agree
No, there
on it.
isn't. That's also being fed to you by software.
Oh my God, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
does
matter.
It doesn't matter.
All we're
Whatever
doing
it
is
is, that's your reality.
No, it's not. Yeah, in his brain, it's just the neural connections, but it's not reality outside.
It doesn't matter.
As far as we're
It does
concerned,
matter.
the banana
Because
in the
he's
room
talking
is
about the
reality.
reality in the outside world, and I'm telling him it's all it's doing is the sensory, the neurons of your.
It doesn't matter. That's his reality. Whatever
That's
his
his-
reality happens to be, that's what it is.
It doesn't need to follow logic or anything. His reality. But that's not the point. We're talking about the outside world. We don't care. That's the point. He could have his own reality in his own brain, being a
This is
software
dumb.
simulation
This is
that could
so
have any
stupid.
sorts of strange rules. It could have, for instance, the fundamental constants in physics of the nature around us being completely different values to the ones that really exist. He could have anything being fed into him by a piece of software. He wouldn't
And if
know the
it
difference. If we can feed into your neural network, your eyes, your ears, your sense of touch, or we could be providing all that to you externally, and I'm just a voice that it's made up.
I wish you were. Listen, I wish you weren't even a voice that was made up. The point is, if we were in a room together and we both have a banana,
You
the
keep on
reality
saying that,
of
but
things.
Jeremy, you seem to be ignoring the fundamental point I'm making.
Oh,
No,
my
that's
God.
all made up and just being fed into your brain.
Point's dumb. Your point's dumb, and I'm
Rompos,
trying to show you
not.
why. But
you have to relax, Rompos. We have to talk about the reality now. You know,
yeah.
We don't
According
know.
to Rumpus, this
is
isn't reality.
the atmosphere in lockdown with spinning ball?
Yes.
Define banana.
Yeah,
How
I could
can
just
you
say,
explain that,
we're all
Rumpus?
not real. Hold on, John.
Because
We're all
it
not
rotates.
real, and you're just being. The ball's
No,
not
let-
real,
let
and you're just being
Rumpus
fed that information through.
Yeah, exactly, Jeremy.
all
That's
right,
what
go
I
ahead.
said.
Clear it all up,
What-
John.
There's
John's got
another
this.
thing you can take as a premise. If you decide to take the premise that your eyes, ears, and everything else, your senses, are delivering to you a real world that's out there, then we can start talking about. Then we have no. And the point is, we have no option really. We have to accept
You're
that.
talking
as real.
about the atmosphere, Rumpus.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'll get back to you in a second. And in this real world, so if I decide to say, right, okay, the world, my senses are delivering to me reality, and it seems to work. I mean, it
What
behaves
should
like
I
a
listen to you,
reality.
Rumpus? Are you like the
You're interrupting me,
professor
Jose.
today?
You're interrupting
Are
me.
you
You're
like in
interrupting
front
me.
of the
You're
class?
interrupting me, Jose.
Is
Be
that how you
quiet.
say
You're
it?
interrupting me. You're interrupting
I'm
me.
asking you a question. Why should
You're
we
interrupting me,
listen
Jose.
to
Be
you?
quiet.
Are you
Be
like
quiet, Jose. Be quiet,
like the
Jose.
leader in the
Be
class?
quiet.
Be
Be
quiet.
quiet. Be quiet.
Jose,
Be quiet. We're not
Rumpus is
right.
talking. Don't
Yes.
over talking.
So in my world,
So are you like the
where
leader,
where
the team
science
leader today?
exists, where
Is that it? Like the
science
team leader?
exists,
Are you doing that
where
again?
science exists,
Jose,
so where science exists,
I'm
and
just
I
asking,
accept
why
the
do I have to
reality.
listen to him?
Why?
Is he
Go
like
away then. You don't
special
have to be here.
guest? Is it
Go
like
away.
a
Go
special
away,
guest
Jose.
kind of thing?
Jose, why are you
Jose.
talking? Why
Jose's
are
being
you
a
talking,
wanker.
Jose?
Jose's deliberately being a wanker. He can sod off. Right. So Johnny,
You almost say a Rumpus, come on, grow some balls and say
go away. Go away. Go be
Oh,
with a
fuck
grow
wanker
you.
some
somewhere else.
balls,
Go
Rumpus.
be a
Be a
wanker
man.
somewhere
Jose,
else,
according
Jose.
to Rumpus,
Stop trying to
according to
disrupt
Rumpus,
things,
you're not
Jose.
even a real.
So Johnny, if in my world the atmosphere rotates with the Earth from all the evidence that I have visible to me, and I can account for it, just like we know that there's friction, just like when you stick your hand out hand out of a car, it causes the wind, and similarly the Earth rotating will cause the atmosphere to go around with it.
You have to talk about the friction.
banana is not real, but
you
that
cannot
is.
say friction. You have to say what is this friction about? What is the friction about? You have to
The
explain.
banana in the room wasn't. The banana in the room was Rumpus. The banana in the room wasn't real, but that is right.
No, it's no more
You
real
don't-
than the banana.
You just
But
say friction.
But I'm indulging him.
You have to
Jeremy.
understand.
I'm saying if
People
we
have to
I
understand
said-
what you're talking about.
hold on, Jeremy.
You're
Johnny.
saying that in this reality, that is what we can all observe, just like the banana. So it's our reality.
I'm saying if I'm prepared to, I'm just saying I can't prove that we've got an
We're not
atmosphere. I
talking
can't
about
prove.
banana.
I can't prove bananas, but I'm saying if I'm going to do that, which it seems to me is the only practical way, for my own personal satisfaction, is to accept that bananas are true and you exist, and I'm talking to someone. I'm also, if I accept that premise, then I'm also going to accept that the atmosphere is rotating with the Earth. I know that the Earth's rotating. I know that the atmosphere on a still day is still. Therefore, it's not rotating. There's not a speed difference. Therefore, it has to be rotating with the Earth.
You're talking about proof or evidence, Rumpus?
The evidence suggests that the atmosphere rotates with the Earth, and we know that the Earth rotates.
What did you say, prove?
I didn't say prove. So we can verify is the word I prefer to use.
Verify means proof.
Sorry?
No, it does not.
There are various levels. There's logical proof. That's when proof is a very specific term about
Mathematical
deductive
proof.
And so that's why science don't tend to use. I think I'd be amazed if you could find the scientific literature where they talk about proof. They'll always say the evidence suggests, because science works on induction. As I said, we don't know the sun is going to rise tomorrow. You can't prove that. You can just say it's incredibly likely.
Remember, we have to relax. Yeah, we have to talk about one thing in the time. Don't talk about.
Well, you changed the subject, Johnny.
No.
Jeremy, then you changed the subject.
I'm letting Johnny to step in the front of the class. John Bernard, go ahead. You're in the front of the class now. Rumpus, sit down in the back.
Yeah,
we
are talking about the refraction and everything. We were talking about that. Nothing has changed. It's the same question. And,
I told you I gave you the answer. Yes, the atmosphere in the world that I'm prepared to accept is real. The atmosphere.
No. Don't talk so. Relax.
Okay, perhaps I'm speaking too
We
quickly.
are talking about refraction in the atmosphere.
So I thought you were talking about the atmosphere rotating with the Earth. You changed the subject. Have I missed a change of subject?
No, we are not.
Sorry, have you changed the subject about the atmosphere rotating with the Earth or not? Is that a new subject we've moved on to?
No, we are not.
You haven't changed the subject.
It was your.
Oh my
God!
was
you were talking about.
You asked me a question about whether the atmosphere was lockstep with the rotating Earth, and now you're talking about something else.
The start question, yes, and you're trying to explain there is refraction of.
You asked me about the rotating atmosphere, and I answered you, and now you're moving on to something else, have you?
Yes, and I'm waiting for the answer.
You've changed
what the fuck?
Which answer? To what question do you want an answer?
So you're just
talking today.
You're just talking your own answer.
Substitute.
Hold on.
That's the question.
Hold on, Jose. I want to give John and Rumpus a little.
My question is the atmosphere in a lockstep with the spinning Earth?
And I said yes about 5 minutes ago.
Do you have some examples that you can clarify?
Right.
And
okay. And obviously missed. Perhaps I was speaking too quickly for you or something. I said we know that the Earth rotates by many, many means, and we know that the Earth, there are quite often still days. When Can I finish my answer, please? And we know that there are still days out there. So we do not, for instance, at the equator we never have 1,000-mile wind at the equator. So therefore, that must be rotating with the Earth. So therefore, the atmosphere is rotating with the Earth.
Tell me one of those means. You say many means. By many means, we know this. But you didn't mention either one of the means.
Yeah, okay. There are many means.
Yeah, it's a reification fallacy. His model says the Earth is spinning. So therefore, we know that.
Benefit. Whenever Jeremy says reification fallacy, he's saying basically he's going to deny science. That's his little watch meme to try and avoid actually dealing with the science.
You didn't have any science, Rumpus. You had no evidence of the actual thing happening. You've just got an assumption.
Okay, I'll give you the evidence.
Because we don't have 1,000. See, you won't let anybody talk, Rumpus.
Well, okay.
I've been here not even half an hour.
Go ahead.
You have interrupted every single person here.
Go ahead.
You're stuttering all the time. You can never give a right answer.
Should I start giving the evidence?
What is your answer? Is the Earth with atmosphere that is in lockdown? With the atmosphere, is the atmosphere moving around the Earth?
I mean, are you deaf or something? I've now told you 3 times. Yes, it is.
You say,
how many more times do I have to say it is?
But it's absolute. It's no reality behind.
2 more times, please.
At least
I've
twice,
now
yeah.
told you for the fourth time, yes, the atmosphere is rotating, lockstep it if you want to call it that, with the Earth. What don't you
What would you
understand
call
about
it,
that
Rumpus?
answer?
Well,
I hope
you know, like
everybody
the term
will
lockstep, what
record
would you
this
call
and have it on a file, because this is a fucking it's overall common sense.
It's a common sense that the Earth is. We know the Earth's rotating. We know that from.
See,
No,
we know.
we don't know that.
We know,
I was
so
about to
my
say- I'm
begging the
about to- I was
question
about to
and
supply
using.
evidence. I was about to supply evidence.
It's
right.
ridiculous,
I was
Rumpus.
about to supply evidence. Well, you do realise that if it's rotating as we say, you wouldn't be able to feel it. You do understand that,
Let's
don't
have
you?
your evidence.
Right.
Let's have
Rumpus,
your
anything,
bullshit evidence.
anything that I'm on
Do
that's
you
moving, I can
understand,
tell.
Paige, do you understand that if
I understand what you think.
no, well, hold on. No, you don't. Do you understand that if
Yeah, I
the Earth
do.
is rotating as I say it is, at the speed I say it is, you would not be able to detect it. Do you appreciate that?
I understand you believe that, yes.
No. Do you understand that the physics says that
I
you
don't
wouldn't be able to detect
agree.
it?
I understand you think that's what
No,
would
but do you understand
happen.
the physics
Yes.
says that the forces on you would be so
No,
small
we have
you wouldn't.
Rumpus.
Right. So you're right. Okay. So you're
Rumpus.
disputing then.
Rumpus,
So you're
stop for a
disputing
second, darling. Stop.
Okay,
Stop.
okay.
We have these stupid UFO people coming out now talking, and even in the government talking about these UFOs that defy physics, defy known physics. This is why they've come and said, yes, they are definitely UAPs, UFOs. We don't know what they are because they defy physics.
They're mistaken.
So you're going to now
deny that,
deny.
Rumpus.
You're going to deny the mainstream coming out.
See, as we were
The
talking about earlier,
military, the government.
When it
Rumpus, you're
when
bringing
it-
them up
that's
and
not
you're
science.
denying
That's
denying
not
the official narrative
That's
and the
not
official story.
science.
Yeah, he's denying
not
the official
verified.
narrative at the moment.
Rumpus, why
Rumpus, you're
are
denying the
you
official
denying?
narrative. The UFO is
Rumpus,
going to be
why are you a
explained
science
in a few
denier?
days,
It's
bro.
not
It
being
has,
verified.
Rumpus.
There's
It
a
has.
high bar. There's a high bar before something becomes accepted as mainstream
Yeah,
science.
and the military. I've got a
has not
video of ones
met-
where the military have
That's just a
actually
video. That's
released
just a
them and
video,
agreed,
They
yes,
got
these.
confused. No, they got confused. Recently, about a year
No.
or so ago, they came out with a video
No, this is
claiming
just
that
days
things.
ago,
Hold on, the
Rumpus.
military.
Rumpus, you're not keeping
Okay,
up to date,
I'm just
bro.
giving an
You're
example
not
of a
keeping up to
previous
date with the
case.
UFO community.
A year ago,
in the sky.
a year ago,
All,
the military
Rumpus,
came out
all
with
I'm
some
trying
video.
to say is, can you appreciate there might be things you don't know yet?
No.
There might be things
Yes.
you
To be
don't
accepted as
Lots of
understand
mainstream
things
yet.
that Rumpus
science,
don't know.
to be accepted as mainstream
See,
science,
he's
it has
so
to be.
arrogant, he will not
No,
stop.
I'm just relaying science to you, and you don't seem to understand.
No,
that
you are just
to
talking
science,
all
That's a
over
sign of
me.
not
weakness.
just a matter
It's a sign
of
of
having
weakness
a
when
video.
Rumpus keeps talking.
Everything in
To
the
be
When the
sky.
Rumpus
accepted
talk
as
and talk,
mainstream
it's a big
science
sign
does
of
not
weakness.
mean to say you can release a video and then that becomes accepted science. Accepted
I'm
science
afraid.
is a
When
high
he also talks
bar,
Rumpus,
and it
without
has to be
stopping,
repeated
he's
and
afraid and
validated
threatened.
and
I don't know.
Everything in the
verified
sky is
by
an
many
other
and
independent
that's why
people.
they've come out with it now, because after decades and decades of looking at these things and trying to find out what they are, they have not been able to.
Well,
So
they
they
make a
finally
claim.
come out and admitted, yes, there are things that we see in the sky that defy known physics.
Right. Do you remember about a year ago they came out with a video recorded from military airplanes of things that were moving faster than the speed of sound?
No, Rumpus, I
overseas?
don't watch UFO
Okay,
crap.
Okay, well there was about a year ago,
You
possibly a year and a
cannot talk
half.
about the,
Hold on, can I
what's
quickly?
happening
This
in
only
the
take
sky
5 seconds.
without
Johnny, this
a
only take 5
Coriolis
seconds.
effect.
Johnny, this only take 5
Rumpus,
seconds.
Rumpus, don't interrupt John Bernard, please.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying.
Go ahead, John,
Right.
please.
Anyway, there's a video about a year and a half ago. So the American
Go
military
ahead,
had
John,
various
Rumpus
video
just-
of some things moving much faster than the speed of sound that they couldn't account for, and they said these must be UFOs. And then it turned out they just simply hadn't taken into perspective into account. So I'm afraid the military is not. They're not scientists.
Yes,
They
there
will
are
make
ones that they
mistakes.
figured out what it was. Of course
They
there have
make
been.
mistakes,
There've
and
been,
they've
there've
made
been
another.
sightings that turned out
They
to be
make
balloons.
mistakes.
Rumpus,
And they-
stop. You said
they-
what you wanted to say.
And they're making mistakes now.
And there are still ones that they don't know what they are and have come out in public, in the mainstream, and have said, we have looked at every available possibility that these things could be, and we can't figure out what they are. The way
That's
they
fine.
move, the speed they move, all that kind of stuff defies known physics.
No,
So,
no,
Rumpus,
defies
stop
or
being so
understand. No, it's
arrogant and
different.
thinking
You
you
don't
know
know shit about
absolutely
physics.
everything.
That's
Paige, you don't know
different.
anything about anything. Why are you talking about science?
Paige, that just because some people didn't understand something does not make it science. The military get things wrong, and they've got it wrong
God,
here.
this show is just lovely. Being here is just great.
You put the rumpus and pay us a shilling a room, and nobody can get a word out. All they will get
Yeah,
interrupted.
as soon as
all the
Paid
time.
Nuts and Shield gets here, everyone's a fuckhead and a
Pretty
fuckhead.
damn quiet up to this point.
But
Shut up,
Rumpus, can we talk about what is happening in the sky? Can we
Biggest
talk
sea
about
lion.
it?
Which guy?
Can we talk about how you will see the sky if the Earth is moving?
This guy.
Everything.
So what guy are you talking about?
Everything. We are talking about different reference frames.
Sorry,
the same way it looks. The same way it looks in real life. When you look out
guy are
to
you
the
talking
sky,
about?
that's how it will look if the Earth is.
I don't know what guy you're
the Earth
talking
is
about,
moving.
Johnny.
Shut the fuck up.
We are talking about
Rumpus.
if you're on a moving reference frame and you have something moving in other reference frame, everything will deflecting from each other.
It will look exactly the same,
Are you
John.
trying to
Your
understand
main
the
shut the
Coriolis
fuck
effect,
up,
Johnny?
Rumpus. I'm trying to answer the
Are you trying
question.
to understand the Coriolis
So
effect,
the
Johnny?
first, I'm gonna mute you, Rumpus, on my end. I don't even gonna know if
it's okay, Fuzzy.
I'm
You
gonna
can
answer
sort off.
John.
So,
John,
Johnny, are you
your
trying
main
to
question is
You don't
how
have
will
Coriolis on if your
relax.
atmosphere is
Coriolis
spinning
Rumpus,
lockstep.
you asked a question
Hold
about
on,
how
Jose.
would the sky
Rumpus,
look if
Johnny,
the Earth is moving, right?
Are you talking about Coriolis
Well,
effect, Johnny? Is that
I
what you're trying to
tell you,
Of course, Coriolis is related to Coriolis. Of course,
Damn,
it's
there's
related to
on, like nobody's
Coriolis.
speaking.
Right.
So the sky will look exactly the
you
same,
do
like
need
we
two
look,
reference
way we
frames.
see it every night.
Rumpus, let someone else get in once
Because
in
the
a
Earth is
while.
moving.
Jose,
Right,
can you
Hold
take
on.
it down? Can you take it down, Jose, please?
Friday night fights. There's nothing.
So,
Well,
what are you saying?
Well, if you want to change the subject, Jeremy, just tell me. If you're not happy with the subject,
I just want you to let other people talk once.
Well,
in a
Johnny
while.
I was trying to talk with Johnny, but if you don't
Jose's
want me
trying to
I'll
get a
stop.
word in edgewise.
Rumpus, maybe let Jose and Johnny talk.
Okay,
like,
Johnny, just
actually
stop,
be
Jeremy.
quiet for a bit.
We are talking about the real subject now. We are talking about if the Earth is moving, then everything have to be deflecting away from the Earth, and everything in the sky will be deflecting. And
Where do you get this idea from, John? Where do you get this idea from?
It's
Because
not
everything looks
it's
exactly like we see it every day.
It's a
the Coriolis
reality.
effect. That's the Coriolis
It's a
effect,
fact.
Jose. What do you mean? That's what the Globe claims.
when you say-
Coriolis.
Yeah, you
It's not my
claim that,
idea.
Jose, not
It's
us.
just
You
a-
claim Coriolis effect happens.
That's
so,
your
Yeah,
deflection.
but
Coriolis
how will everything
It's
look in
demonstrable.
real life if you look up to the sky because the Earth is moving and everything is relative to the Earth in a fixed position very far away? It will look exactly like we see it in real life when we look up to the sky. Nothing is different. Nothing changes. I don't know if you got any idea. If you saw a different model or a flatter model or somebody saying that it doesn't work,
What would look
you got to
exactly
show me.
the same?
What do you understand it? How it will
He didn't understand your point, Johnny. I'm afraid he didn't understand a word you said. Right, if you're talking about the Coriolis effect,
stop.
that was his main. That was his first question. Now you want to talk about the Coriolis. I know you do. And you guys want to talk about Coriolis. But his first question is, why doesn't the thing...
The question is about Coriolis in the end, of course. We are talking about two reference frames.
Yes.
We're talking about if you are
Sorry,
on a
Johnny, you and your
moving
reference frames have been
everything
ruined.
is deflecting away from you.
Once again, you show your ignorance, Page.
Hold on, Bob, you're hot.
We have to
micing.
relax and take it.
Someone's got an open mic.
Yeah, Bob, you're hot micing.
Right.
Who is talking now? Over.
There was a hot mic, Johnny. It's all.
I mean, how else?
NASA.
You're gonna have to mute him.
I did it.
Okay, man.
I'm not hiding my camera,
you
muted,
have
damn
to
it.
understand. You cannot clarify what I'm saying. You cannot clarify if you have a two reference frame. Everything has to be deflecting away from you.
Right.
But
Like the football, Johnny. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson's football,
It's
right?
not gravity, Johnny.
Yep,
So that
all
stops things
4
distorting.
centimeters, all 4 millimeters.
No. We have to. It's no.
Which is impossible if
I'm
the
listening.
atmosphere is rotating lockstep. It would carry it.
It has nothing to do with the atmosphere.
There are
Oh,
only
shit.
reference frames.
Yeah,
Depends
so
where you
you
look
don't
at.
understand it.
Johnny,
Are
give
you
us
in
an
the
example.
inertial or do you need
You
a
don't.
reference frame?
It's independent.
Everybody's
the
talking
Coriolis
and
is
saying,
independent
Shield, you don't know
independent of the
what.
atmosphere. You are so dumb, Paige. You don't understand shit.
You have to
Yeah,
relax.
that's
now,
Rich.
okay?
You calling somebody dumb.
So, Johnny, do you want to describe exactly a situation you're referring to? Are you talking about something moving in the atmosphere, or something moving on the ground, or are you talking about gravities or gas, or what? Give us an example so we can get to grips with what you're asking.
If you think the ground is moving that you're standing on, and everything in the air has to be deflecting away from you, then. But then the other question is no. Listen.
Okay, I was just trying to clarify. I wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Are you? My question is then the atmosphere in lockstep with that is my question.
And I keep on. I've asked you about 6 times now. Yes, the
So how is
atmosphere
that possible,
is in lockstep
Rumpus?
with gravity.
No,
It's in lockstep with gravity now.
No, gravity holds
Not
it
the
to
rotating
hold on.
Earth.
Okay, let me finish the sentence. Gravity holds obviously the atmosphere to the Earth, and the Earth rotates. And just like anything, like
No,
when
it
you stick a
doesn't.
hand
No,
up,
it doesn't.
and that will just like I think we described the belt sander type.
I give you a chance, and you're Rufus all together now.
I nearly finished
It's
there.
not
Just
real
like a belt
answer.
sander. If I were to get a belt sander going, we had this discussion with Brandon on many occasions. If you have a belt sander going, that will cause the air next to the belt sander to be accelerated. And if you would stand in front of a belt sander, I hope you know what that means. Just a sandpapery, then that will blow air at you. So that means it's great. It causes a friction. So it interacts with the atmosphere and then drags.
So how would something deflect from that if it's being carried along with the air that's moving at the same as the ground? How does something deflect?
The air is moving faster at the equator than
Rufus,
at
you're
the
stuttering.
poles.
You're not giving a real answer. You have to relax.
So the Coriolis effect only happens on your model north to south.
No, it doesn't.
Actually, it happens east to west too, but the north to south is more noticeable.
Okay, so how does deflection happen if you're going east or going west?
Goes up or down.
Dan already ruined your reference frames.
What?
No, it means you don't understand the
It goes up or
reference frame.
down.
Yep.
Yeah, your reference
I
frames
love
are
the
ruined.
fact
Talk to
that
Simon
a rotating sander is your proof of the magic Velcro Earth.
But I think I think Page was denying that a rotating physical thing can cause a gas to rotate.
No, I agree. I let you have that, Rumpus. I said, okay.
You were
So if
asking
you're
the
going to say
mechanism,
that air is moving at the same rate as the ground underneath it, then if you were to throw a tennis ball into that stream of air above the sander, then the air should be moving as fast as the ground is, so the ball should be carried along with the air. So that's why I then asked NASA, okay, does that mean in your model Coriolis only happens north to south? And he said yes, and you said no.
No. Paid National Shield and I are completely in agreement on the just before we go to Coriolis.
It didn't sound like it.
We're in complete agreement. If you're on the equator,
yes and no, a complete agreement now.
We'll go back to you can go back and ask him again in a second. Let me just make the point. If you're standing on the equator, it's rotating 1,000 miles an hour. The atmosphere is also rotating 1,000 miles an hour. So when you launch the ball up into the air, that starts off going at 1,000 miles an hour. And as the atmosphere is also doing that, it behaves as though everything is stationary. And so it will. But unless you throw it really high, then you'll get some other effects which I won't talk about. It will come back down to exactly where it was, just like being on a train. If you throw a ball up in a train, it will come back down. Where you if you throw it up vertically, it'll come back down vertically.
But Rumpus, in visual reality, we don't see the clouds or anything else going away from us. So it's not fitting the reference frame. Okay, we take it later.
I'll answer the question, Johnny. But Paige was trying to ask something about Coriolis, and I did say I'd answer.
All I wanted to say at the end is, so you assume that your atmosphere is like it's spinning, but it's one entity that is frozen, like stationary in itself, but it's moving and it's got little wind pockets inside it. So it's moving at 1,000 miles an hour with the Earth. It looks like it's stationary because it's moving.
The speed is changing as you go north to south, as you go nearer the
Yes, I
pole.
understand that.
You're
not listening to what I'm saying.
You said it was rock solid. So it's not solid.
No, I didn't say anything about rock solid. Stop changing words, Trumpet. Listen.
You said it was ice. You said it was like a solid ice or something.
No, like it's frozen in place.
He's got like verbal diarrhea right now.
Speed, wherever it is on that Earth, it's frozen at that speed. Like it's stuck at that speed. So it's as if it's stationary. And
For
then
each
you've got
latitude, yeah.
clouds and wind and shit moving,
Well,
hurricanes and shit moving
the little wind
inside.
thing, that's little small. Those
So,
are the micro effects.
right.
The macro effect is all rotating at 1,000 miles an hour. The equator.
Right. Perfect. So can you at least admit that there is no difference to our to us? There's no difference between what it would look like if the atmosphere was stationary and the Earth was stationary.
Correct.
And this effect only.
You have
also
the same.
but then you have to.
So he's got
ask
no
Bob
evidence
Nodell
of
and his
this atmosphere
gyroscope.
actually moving. And
Hold on. Paige, can you hear Paige? Paige, can you hear when other people are talking?
Sorry, I thought I was
just
talking to
curious.
Rumpus.
No, I know. I'm just saying there's like people are constantly trying to like jump in and stuff.
Oh, who, NASA?
I don't know if
I'm,
you.
I'm pretty used to him just jumping in, but I was going to finish my
He does,
conversation
yeah.
with Rumpus, if that
Yeah,
was
all right,
okay.
go ahead.
Okay, I'm done.
So yes, you're correct. You would not be able to determine just by the behavior of the wind whether or not you're on a sphere
Thank
or
you,
a
Rumpus.
plateau.
However,
Okay, I appreciate
there are
that.
other ways
Thank
of determining that the Earth is moving.
You know what else
Bob
you can't
Nodell.
determine? When else you can't determine the shape of the Earth? When you're flying in a fucking plane going hundreds or
That's
thousands of
incorrect.
miles over the surface, you can't
True.
tell
Incorrect.
whether
True.
you're on
That's
over
incorrect.
a giant spinning ball or a flat level plane, according to Blue Marble Science
Incorrect.
and Bob the Science Guy.
Well, they're both incorrect because you can tell by the way you navigate that plane.
No. You're talking
you
about
can.
the lines you draw
Because
on
you're
a
flying
piece of
great
paper
circle
and what
routes.
shape you choose to draw your map. That's all you're talking about. I'm talking about the actual flight, the actual navigation of
Yeah,
the
but
flight
when
while
you
you're
have
in
to
the
fly
air, how
from-
the plane performs, what
okay,
buttons you
how
have
the
to
plane
push, the
performs.
indicators
I'm talking about how the
get.
plane
None of that
navigates.
stuff will tell you I'm on a spinning
The
ball. You don't have to
navigation of
account
the
for
airplane will
curvature.
tell you that the
You
Earth
don't
is-
have to
is
account
a
for
globe.
rotation. You don't have to account for any of that while you're flying the plane. That
When
goes
you
along with your
navigate an
magic
airplane-
Velcro atmosphere theory, by the way.
When you navigate an airplane from Los
Even though it
Angeles
conflicts
to
with it.
London, you are flying over Churchill, Canada. Tell me how that works on your flat
Don't
Earth.
care. That has nothing to
Yes,
do
you
with what I'm
should,
talking
because it
about.
proves the globe you've
That's
fought
how you
at.
draw your lines on a piece of paper on the
It is
on the map.
also the shortest route between the two, and that's how the airplanes fly. Do you think the airplanes fly
So what?
longer routes just to prove? What do you
Do
mean?
you think
so
do
what?
they fly in a straight
They
line
do
or what?
sometimes on your
When I
flight.
go from Los
Circumstances.
Angeles to New York, does the plane take a straight path between the two cities?
Not on that route, no, because
No.
there are
Okay, so
airways to get
planes.
off
Do,
balls
okay,
and-
in theory, if they could take a straight path, would they take a straight path?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
So
would
they
be the
take a
shortest
straight line. So do you draw straight lines differently than I draw straight lines?
It depends where you're drawing your straight line and what projection you're on.
No, that is
On
the
the
wrong
Earth.
answer.
Yes,
You
it
always
does.
draw a straight
Asshole.
line
If you-
between A and B.
if you
That is
had a
basic
Mercator
geometry.
projection-
A, straight line. B, doesn't deviate. That's how straight lines work.
The problem is that in a Mercator projection, you would not draw the shortest distance between
That's
the two
the
points.
type of map you've
So it only
chosen to
depends
use
what the map
and the
looks
shape
like.
of the lines on the map that you've chosen to use, the type of projection. I'm not talking about map projections. I'm talking about reality.
Reality too. If you fly from Los Angeles to London, you're up over Churchill, Canada.
That's
and
fine.
over
What's the
Greenland.
problem with that?
Because if you look on your flat map, you would be over New York
What
City.
flat
What
map?
flat map?
Your flat map. The Earth, the
Google
the flat
Earth.
map you guys
Tell us
always
all
draw
about it.
up.
Tell us about it.
Our map is exactly the same.
Oh, that's right. You guys don't have a model because
Go
anytime you
down,
throw the
go
model,
down to
it gets
ground
trashed.
level and
Understand.
draw that line from that place to the other place. Do it at
Yeah,
ground
it's a
level.
great circle route. It's amazing how it's a great circle
It's a
route,
straight
isn't it?
line. A great circle out is a straight line
straight
between
line.
two locations, right?
Yeah, it just happens to have some other different rules to it, but okay.
What are the different rules? What are the different rules for this straight line between two locations?
Yeah,
Rule
why don't you
one,
Google
make
that
shit up.
yourself? You think I'm going to teach you about great circle routes today?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
here we
Get back in your
go.
little cave
Yeah,
there. Get it
now
back in
you
your
gotta-
hidey hole.
I'm not here
Now
to
you
teach
got to
you
go
shit.
and look it up yourself.
Oh,
you normally
you
want
should
to
go
tell
on
me
mute.
everything, but
You
all
just
of a
go
sudden
know
on
shit,
now
Jill.
you're
You
going
think you don't
to
want to
That's
learn
why
about
you
great
can't
circle
teach nobody
routes?
nothing.
You guys do not want to learn about great circle
Yeah,
routes.
it's true.
Tell us.
I'm not here to teach you shit. I'm
Well,
sorry.
then shut the fuck up then.
It just shows you how fucked up you are that you won't even begin to learn
Now
the
he's
beginnings.
attacking.
You think I can explain
unscrew
to you great circle routes in here?
You're
You think
exposing
I can
yourself.
fucking explain good circle routes
You're
to you?
exposing
No,
yourself
no,
right
no.
now.
Because
The more you repeat
dear.
it, the more you expose
You're so
yourself.
Here's the
butthurt.
easiest. You want an easy way to figure out a great circle route? Get a globe and a piece of string. It's amazingly accurate for a great circle route.
NASA, all the
So you're gonna
geometry
use a
you
toy.
do, all the measurements you do are using Euclidean.
Is a great
So,
circle route a straight
and
line
even
on a
if you
globe?
start,
Yes,
Oh, so we're talking about a
What?
straight line between A and B still, right?
that's correct. But it would
Thank
on
you.
that
your
would be
flat
a
Earth, it would appear
chord,
to be a
wouldn't it?
curve.
Hang on, if it's a straight line, it's a chord.
He can imagine whatever it is. What he is talking about is this imaginary, on his imaginary ball, a straight line
imaginary.
somehow has some kind of properties that tell you that you're on a giant ball. What are those properties that tell you you're on a
Yeah.
giant ball with a straight line?
A wizard did it.
We know the Earth's curved. So that's why
we know. Yeah, I forgot. Step A. Earth is a giant ball.
Question and being fallacious is perfectly okay because we already know
And great
we're on
circle
a ball.
routes are part of the, if you want to call it proof.
Step one,
I know
assume you're
part
on a
of the
ball.
demonstration.
Sure, they're part
that
of
the
your
Earth,
model, NASA,
It
but
is
they're
not
not
my
part of
mo-
our reality.
It's not my model. It's
Listen for a
reality.
second.
Airplanes are
Listen.
flying
No,
from New
in
York
reality,
to Los Angeles to
NASA,
London every
stop.
day up over
NASA.
Churchill.
NASA,
They're flying the
in reality,
the shortest route.
oh my God. Yeah,
Which is
and
a
in
straight line.
reality, you get on that plane, the plane goes up to a certain height, levels out, stays a couple of degrees nose up the whole flight, then lands, and you get out. That's reality.
Yeah, with somebody up
You
there actually
then-
doing a job, you know.
Yeah, with the horizon straight, horizontal, on their little HUD in front of them. Like, really? You know, have you not even played any video games before, NASA?
Are you claiming that the horizon is not below eye level in an aeroplane?
No, I'm claiming the horizon is parallel to horizontal. Horizontal is parallel to the plane of the horizon.
Well, that's not the case because your
Yes,
local
it is.
horizontal. No, if your local horizontal is determined by a theodolite, that will not agree with the horizon.
Rumpus, darling, that's the definition. The mathematical definition for horizontal is parallel to the... Yes, it is.
No, it's not. No, that's an etymological
Euclidean
definition.
geometry.
You
However, the Earth
you
is a
go and look up.
globe.
No
You go and
definition
look
of
up.
horizontal. Hold on, Paige. No definition of horizontal has any mention of the horizon in it.
the horizon.
No surveyor ever uses the horizon, for anything. The way you work out
And
whether something's
yet it
horizontal,
still says
you use a
that
plumb bob
horizontal is
or the
parallel.
equivalent of that, which is an auto level or a theodolite, or if you wish to, you can use a water level, which will also do effectively what an auto level does. The horizon never, ever, 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 ever features in any thing to do with horizontal used by surveyors or mathematically. It's not a mathematical definition. It's just something that Bev has made up
It's
and you
funny
swallowed
that
it.
they say when people are trying to convince others of something that they are either lying about or unsure about, they will repeat themselves a lot
Well, you don't seem to
and
understand.
emphasize
neuro-linguistic programming.
words like very, very. You know, they have to, because the actual proof isn't there, the substance isn't there,
Okay,
their
Paige,
words
go
have
away.
to
You're just
become...
too dumb to understand it.
Paige,
See,
you're
he
just
won't even let me
repeating.
finish. He won't
No,
even
of course
let me
not.
finish.
No, they have
Once
to
again?
cut you off and insult you because
Yeah.
you made a good point.
No,
I
she
haven't
made
insulted
another
her.
bullshit point.
Not you. You didn't.
See?
I'm talking about your sidekick, Peyton Nesta Shill.
I have. Yeah, because Paige is
I
one
mean,
of the
even
stupidest
Rumpus
people here.
says
I'm
the Earth
sorry.
is very
up,
flat.
Shield. Goddamn.
So even Rumpus admits that it looks flat, feels stationary.
No, it
He
doesn't
just
look
admitted to
flat.
me then that on
If you're
It
sitting
absolutely
on
does
the
not
the
look
base,
Earth
flat.
is very flat. Can you play
That's
that
why when
soundbite,
things
please?
chips go over the horizon, that wouldn't happen on a flat Earth. So
Yeah.
it doesn't look flat.
Let me-
Ship
I'll
go
play it.
what?
Polaris
They
doesn't
go
behave in a way that looks
what?
flat. We have
What's
sunsets
obstructing
that
that
can't
ship,
happen on a flat.
Rumpus?
You can't have sunsets on a flat Earth.
What's
The Earth is
obstructing that
very
ship,
flat.
Rumpus?
The Earth is
You
very
wouldn't be
flat.
trying to use the geometric horizon to obscure your boat, would you?
Well, the refraction calls
The
it
Earth
permissive
is
geometry. I mean, you can
very
conceptualize
flat.
it as the
So
part
it's
of the
not.
geometry of the Earth, which is,
Rumpus,
to simplify the explanation, yes, it is the geometry of the Earth, and that's going to be very close. The apparent horizon and the geometric horizon are very close together usually. So if you want to simplify the argument, then yes, you could say it's the geometric. But it's
You
the
just
geometry of the
let
Earth.
the bullshit fall out of your mouth, baby
refraction.
brother.
Refraction just changes
You just
which
open
ones
your gob and just let it pour out.
Paige, all that refraction does is to change the point of the Earth's
Can you explain
curve.
what this
But
Rumpus,
diffraction
that's
is
all
doing?
we
it
have.
just changes the point, which is
It's
doing the
not
obscuring.
It's not obscuring a geometric horizon. It's just obscuring what you see, everything in front of
the
you.
Earth's geometry. That's
There
the
is
Earth's
no-
curvature.
there
is doing that.
No,
The-
you're
the-
assuming that.
Paige, the
You've
geometric horizon
never
is defined.
actually proven that because you can't
have.
see the geometric horizon.
The geometric horizon is
you've never-
defined. The
So you
geometric
won't let
horizon is.
me even.
Okay, let me just quickly
even
define what
have
geometric horizon
one
is.
retort.
Geometric horizon. I'll shut up and let you speak as long as you like in a second. Geometric horizon is just defined as the horizon you would have without refraction. With refraction, the horizon's in a different place. Finish. Go ahead.
So something we never have, can't have, and is impossible, so should be not even thought about. Right.
But it's very close to the apparent horizon.
Something we can't see, have never seen, would never expect to see. It's ridiculous.
Well, there are
You know,
some
there
days.
There will come a
Can
day
I take
where
over?
enough people have talked to their kids, the kids have seen them turn into flat earthers. There will come a day when these kids will stand up in school and just say, fuck off. This is bullshit. I'm not,
there'll be
we're not
nice
having this
answers then.
anymore.
I will ask you, Rumpus. Okay, do you really think this fraction will appear in the fraction you're talking about?
Refraction. Refraction.
Refraction.
Refraction. Right.
Refraction will appear in so small distance.
I didn't unreal. I don't understand the point you're making.
Okay, like in the black swan.
Well,
we have
that's
a
extreme refraction. Normally, we don't have that level of refraction.
You have to understand what I'm.
Right,
you
normally
have to
you only get black swan type refraction when you get very low down. If you're up a reasonable height, you don't get that. You just get standard refraction. With standard refraction, the horizon is the geometric horizon and the apparent horizon are quite close. To
Okay. But we have three materials to take in a place. And
materials? Sorry, 3 what? Sorry, I didn't understand you. 3 what?
Stupidest person here.
You say materials.
Yes, we have the shore, and we have a distance to the oil platforms, and we have the apparent horizon.
Yes.
Far away.
Yes.
That is the third. Therefore, I say 1, 2, 3. So think about it.
I'm thinking about it, and it's just
John Bernard, and Rumpus. Both of you guys are robotic.
Write down your question. And then
No. We have to think about it. There is no refraction in so small area.
I think you're doing a robotic matrix.
In this distance we are talking about, there will not appear. What the fuck? The refraction.
You're not making any sense, Johnny.
Okay, listen to me. If it's not so long distance we are talking about.
What isn't long distance?
From the shore to the geometric horizon.
One of them is 10 miles away. I think the other is it 6 miles away? 6 miles and 10 miles away, the oil rig from the observation point. Yes, so what?
Yeah. So the refraction you're talking about will not appear in that matter you're talking about.
It will not. What I don't know what you're. You can have extreme refraction in the black swan case because he was so low. Because the conditions in that particular part of the world where you have cold water and you can have warm air coming over it, you get extreme refraction sometimes. Like Anthony Riley did with the Isle of Man on one occasion, you can see shore to shore over 50 miles. In that particular case, you get circular rays when you get a strange temperature gradient. And that's all that happened. You had extreme refraction. You do not get that if you get up a reasonable height. Then you just get standard refraction, and then you can allow for that. And that means that in that case, the apparent horizon and the geometric horizon are close enough together so that if you do an Al-Biruni type experiment, you'll get within 5% of the right answer.
Maybe 20 miles you have the standard refraction, yes, to the apparent horizon. but you are not the standard
So what's your obsession with distance? You can have refraction.
to the geometric.
I don't understand. The geometric horizon for the
Not
height
can
is
see, not can get measure. It isn't. It's not reality. We are talking about the fantasy now. Okay, there is no refraction there. It's too short. It's too short.
Johnny, most of the time you can't see the legs of the distant oil platform. So that should be telling you that there is refraction going on. Most of the time you can't see the bottom. In fact, you can only see half of the distant oil platform. So clearly something about the atmosphere has changed, and that's the refraction conditions. And the black swan is a very strange, unusual condition that we can account for by knowing the physics of the of refraction in the atmosphere can account for it. But it's unusual, and it only happens when you get down nice and low, and most of the time that condition does not exist.
So we have the oil platforms in the place, and that is the measurement. The oil platform is just the point for the measurement.
But Johnny, you do accept that the conditions are changing. You can see more or less the changes. There are some most of the time. But John, this is fundamental. But do you accept that most of the time you can't see the legs of the distant platform and the horizon's in a different place?
No,
so you must understand, therefore, refraction is the cause of the black swan.
There is no refraction in so short.
There is, Johnny, because it changes, doesn't it? What do you think's changing? Why do you think? Why do you think that 99% of the time we can't see the bottom half of the oil rig, and then on one day we can see it all? That should be telling you that the refraction conditions are different. How else can you account for the fact you're seeing different things?
Rumpus,
yes, but it's in the front. It is in the front of the oil rigs, so it's very, very close. There is nothing blocking.
Rumpus, you have no data for those claims, Rumpus.
Well, we know that 99% of the time.
You just wanted to distract NASA from the point that I was saying about what reality is actually like when you get in a plane and fly somewhere. You're just doing your job. I understand, but holy shit.
Well, it was
like it's really
Johnny,
pathetic.
I wasn't trying to sabotage anything. You were talking to Paige.
I'm talking about this.
Johnny was the one who.
And what?
If you want to raise the subject again, Paige, I'm happy. I'm happy for you to. If you want me to stop talking to Johnny, you can go on talking to
okay, NASA, can you at least concede that's what happens in reality?
Here anymore.
Oh,
you have to realize. My point is, this too short to get any refraction that can.
Hey, I'm sorry, Johnny.
Anything.
99% of the time we see one thing.
No, stop saying
and
that.
And then, hold on, let me just finish. Travis, let me just finish. The fact that you must accept that refraction's the cause of the effect, Johnny, because most of the time we see one thing, and then very occasionally we see this other thing. Now, the only thing that can cause that is refraction.
You have to understand that it's just 1 foot from the surface, so it's not so far away, so you cannot claim this
Johnny,
refraction.
The only thing that can cause it is refraction. We see wildly different things. The difference can only be caused by refraction.
You need more distance to get this refraction you're talking about.
No, you don't.
John, just
no.
Hold on.
You just made that up. You just made it up. The physics says you can. Go ahead, Travis.
How can you say that?
No, I want to, Johnny. I can't.
Do you have something behind it? Do you have something behind it? Do you really have something?
Sentence. I have no idea what you said then, Travis. For God's sake, speak.
Do you really You say. Do you know the refraction is always about how far distance. You cannot get this refraction you're talking about.
What do you think has caused the difference in the appearance of the oil rigs besides refraction?
It's in the front of the oil rigs.
What else could be causing the difference in what we see besides refraction?
Nothing.
Exactly.
There is
refraction.
Atmospheric conditions.
Exactly. The atmospheric conditions. Exactly. That's refraction. The only thing that changes light to not be straight is refraction. Because refraction is about the bending of light.
It can be refraction behind the oil rigs, don't be front them.
No, the lack. Hold on. The lack of refraction. The lack of refraction could be causing it, Rumpus.
Well, minimized. I wouldn't say lack of. Refraction is always there. You cannot not have refraction.
So can be strange conditions where the actual refraction of the atmosphere is there, but that's unusual. Normally, you have standard refraction or some other wacky stuff.
Okay. Just to go back, Rumpus, you can't make claims like 99% of the time because you don't have data for that. You don't. You're not BMLS B69. You're not me.
He posted a video of him going there every day for 3 months. We do have the data. Thank you, Travis.
We do indeed.
Okay, you
Thank you
don't
for it.
have. Okay, listen. You don't. Hold on. You don't have any of the data for the conditions of the medium.
Yeah, but we do know that
No.
we do know that for almost, I'm going to say 90% now, but possibly 99% is valid. That almost all the conditions, what you will witness 99% of the time will be the oil rigs in the most of the videos that he has released. But the black one, of course, we all notice is the one that doesn't conform to.
Jump in real quick. Okay, I understand that you haven't watched my videos. I can produce.
I have watched some of them.
Okay, I have produced videos where I can see farther in certain conditions here on the Chesapeake Bay in particular. Okay, when I have those observations and I compare them to what has been considered looming with BMLSB, the appearance is the same. That is, the conditions and the objects that you're looking for have the same appearance. They look like they're in the same condition. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I don't think you've had anything as extreme as a black swan, but some examples you have shown me. So along the lines that we understand by looming
you would have to go back and look at videos where I'm showing you in one video that I can show you the shoreline 9 miles away, and it gives the appearance of distance. Okay, just like
I agree with you. Yeah, I think one of the ones you did do that.
Okay, now, while I agree that those conditions aren't as prevalent, in the month of March, I was documenting for the first 2 weeks consistent observations that I would consider what you would label as looming. Those are the conditions. What we see is farther. Okay.
Exactly. That would happen in March. You're absolutely right. This March, I would expect to see that a lot because that's when you have the cold water and warm air.
Except for the fact that during those 2 weeks when I was making these observations, I don't know who it was in this show, was saying that looming rarely happens, and I was shooting it every day. So that's not rare. Okay. So
was that in the evening? What time of day was that?
It was all throughout the day. It lasted all day.
Right. I mean, normally to get the sort of the looming conditions that we're talking about here, it often happens.
That
in the
is
evening.
normally. He was out in reality for 2 weeks. That is normal. That's normally, Rumpus.
I'm happy to accept that in March, when you're going to get cold water and warm air, those are the conditions I would expect to have when you're going to get looming.
Listen to me. I can show you pictures of the thermometer that I put into the water, or the thermometer that I put into the water, and the thermometer that I had outside the water with the air. The air and the water were very similar. Okay, and it was consistent for those 2 weeks. So you can't.
That would make sense.
That must be just
a nice even.
That must be just a feature of being on the shore. I think you'll
you
find
can
that if
see
you were to go out
ad hoc,
what you would.
Shit up.
Yeah. See, it just sounds to me like you're just having a clearer, like a piece of glass that's either really clear and you can see through it perfectly, or a bit of glass that's a bit cloudy or cracked and shit.
The cloud is not the issue.
I didn't say clouds, Rumpus. See, you do
clarity,
not
I
listen.
said no, you didn't listen. I said clarity.
And I'm saying clarity.
I know, and I'm saying it's not an issue.
That is all.
It's not an issue. The clarity is not an issue.
Rumpus, what do you mean by clarity? Because again, I've got footage where
Paige was saying it was somehow cloudy or something, and that has absolutely nothing to do with this.
No, I didn't say cloudy.
Well, no,
I said
you were trying to give all sorts of reasons,
when
like whether you meant glass.
Even when things are even and nice and balanced, it's like having a pane of glass that you can see through really easily.
Exactly, the clarity of the glass, and that's irrelevant.
Yes. Oh,
No,
I don't care what you think is irrelevant.
It's
So
not.
all that's happening is we are seeing further on, of what is in front of us.
No, you're not
That's
seeing
all
just
that's
further.
happening.
It's
And when
in a
it's
different position. It's not as though you're
Rumpus.
you're implying you're seeing through more of the glass, more than it's not. It's not a problem about being. It's not an attenuation issue. It's not an attenuation issue. You can still see that what you're looking at clearly in both cases. What is different is the temperature gradient, and that will cause
Rumpus.
glooming.
No, he's saying the temperature.
Well,
when
he's saying
things
that.
are even and
I
balanced,
don't think he's measuring that properly.
you get a nice, clear way of seeing.
Okay, Travis, if what you're saying was true, then presumably if you measured this, you have the same temperature conditions when you didn't have the looming, and you're saying you have the same temperature conditions. Well, you're not saying that, but I'm saying for you.
There is no
Hold on,
example of
Johnny,
looming.
please let me just finish making a point to Travis. So I think what you would find then that if you're claiming that the temperature of the water and the air was the same. By the way, you need to do it more than I don't know where you held this in the air thermometer. It could possibly be closer to the water you need. But I bet your tests are gonna find that the same conditions existed when you didn't have looming, which means you're not registering the temperature gradient for whatever reason, whether it's a dysfunctional thermometer or where you've put it or whatever. Because to get the effect you're talking about will require a different temperature gradient. And if you're not detecting a different temperature gradient, that means you're not detecting something that's there.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. When I fact checked the weather stations for the Chesapeake Bay, they reflected the same measurements that my temperature.
Well, they don't give you vertical temperature gradients, though, do they?
Oh dear.
Okay, listen. That is part of the problem in this science. I have not been able to go across 9 miles of the Chesapeake Bay taking temperature gradients.
That's not required.
Okay.
The optical corridor is usually, as I say, quite similar.
I'm
What's
not-
important is the vertical temperatures.
I am not going to be happy with taking a vertical measurement in my one location and then extrapolating that out over 9 miles. No fucking way.
Yeah, not when you can actually do it. Like, if you had the means to do it, you would do it, wouldn't you, Travis? So the more data you've got, the better it's going to be for you. So to say you don't need it or it's irrelevant or whatever, Rumpus, is very
well,
strange.
I would say it would be nice to have two. Certainly, it would be nice to have the temperature at the other side. But what you desperately need is a vertical temperature gradient.
Across the entire distance.
No, you don't need to do that.
Okay, prove that.
Yes.
Because people who worry about such things have established that along the optical corridor...
We want actual proof that that's what's happening. There's nothing wrong with that, Rumpus. Stop telling people there's something wrong.
Well,
with
no, I'm not saying it's
wanting-
wrong to do. No, I'm not saying
You are. You say you don't need it.
Well, I'm saying you don't. I'm saying that, but if he wants to validate that or invalidate it, I'm more than happy for him to do so.
Again,
for instance, George
I
has
can't
done
believe
a
you're
daily
happy to just assert something as truth without have done
because
having
I
done
rely
it.
on the body. People have come before me.
Sorry,
and
I've
have
had
done
the
such
flu.
things. I rely on the body of science, the information that other people have collected. Someone
Okay.
like George, for instance, he has done a daily observation of him, and he's got looming
Okay.
conditions.
So do you understand some people don't want to have to rely on other men and they want
I do
to
understand, and I'm
do
happy
it for themselves?
A citizen scientist is a fine thing, and if Travis wishes to go,
Then why
and
do you come
those
here and belittle us for doing it so much?
No, I don't know. I've never belittled anybody for doing citizen science and actually going out and doing measurements or experiments.
Well, you
I've
say
never
things like,
belittled-
you make it sound like it's not important, it's irrelevant, you don't need to do it.
Well, the trouble is,
why aren't you encouraging people?
I will encourage. I've encouraged Brian every single time Brian has come up with an idea. I've always tried to be helpful in suggesting what he can what would be helping him to
Your
achieve.
version of helpful, Rumpus.
Rumpus has helped many people. He's been here for like 5 years. Rumpus has helped people. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he doesn't.
I've never discouraged. I mean, I've said Brian's doing something stupid quite often, but that's to help him, but to make him do something more sensible. So I have told him things he's done
But
as
do
silly.
you understand
I've
some
never
people
said
might
don't do
hear
things.
you say that? Well, say it's not needed and whatever, and they just
Well, I'm trying to save Travis some time. If he were to get his vertical
Why
temperature
would you want to
sorted
do
out,
that?
because
Over
I'm trying to
having empirical
because
proof,
he can
why on earth would you want to save time
because
when
I'm
you're
trying to get him to do the
looking for
useful thing,
empirical proof and you're able to do it? All
which
that's
is he's not able to
lacking
do
is
it. And,
the
right, he
means,
ought
the
to be putting
finances,
effort.
or whatever. No, it's
He ought to be
able
doing
to
effort
be
into
done,
vertical gradients.
Rumpus.
He ought to be putting effort into
All right,
generating the
let me ask
vertical
you-
gradients.
He
not
ought to be doing both.
Not asking,
Well, okay, but he won't be able to do that, will
question.
he?
I just
Yes,
What is
he
the
will.
looming? There is no
I just have a
specific
George was able to do it.
reality behind the looming. You have to answer the looming. You cannot just say looming. Do you know there is no specific demonstration of looming? Yeah,
Yes, there is.
in a small, very, very small.
Yes, there
It's
is.
not
George
like-
Natayuk has got. I've got pictures document showing that George has got an example of looming where something that was usually not visible was behind the horizon, and then on some days he was like Travis's days, he was able to see this whole area behind the horizon was raised up in a looming situation. So we have this. This is only over a distance of about 3 miles.
George is not a bro.
Let me just jump in just real quick. Okay, look. Again, I've put panels up. Brandon has shown these panels where I have the same observation in 3 different panels. In looming, it's not lifted up. The entire field of view is dropped into the background and lowered. It is not lifted up.
Do you have the temperature on those days?
Okay, so my claims don't depend on the temperature. So whatever you're trying to paint me in a corner, and I'm not going to.
These are the same pictures I've seen, aren't they? That you're talking about.
Yeah, just real quick though. Listen, it's in my opinion, it is just as reasonable to say when I can see, apparently, when I can see farther than I normally can, I'm simply seeing what is straight in front of me. When I cannot see it, it is refraction that is obstructing that distance. It doesn't have to have, it's not looming then, right?
Yeah, it's not the looming. Yes.
Yeah, if I'm taking these observations and I'm just doing...
So like a clear plane of glass instead of a frosty one.
I'm seeing something...
Not relevant to page.
Okay, but listen.
Yeah, it is.
The frostiness, provided you can see the damn thing, that's all you need to do. The attenuation of the light is irrelevant.
You have
then it will stop you from seeing things.
But we can see it. That's not an issue. Provided we can see the
So
things.
that'll be a clear plane of glass. You're just seeing
they're
what's
both
there.
Yes, it's irrelevant. The frosting
So
issue
we
of
don't
glass
need
is not relevant.
we don't need assumptions of balls and shit.
You have to understand the temperature.
I mean, Travis
and everything.
You
You
got
have
to
to
understand, Rums, we're just making our own model. We don't give a shit. If you've made your model and you want to agree with your model, our model only doesn't work if you try to fit it into your model. Our model stands on its own.
How does it stand on your own?
No, it's not. You don't have to. You don't even think the temperature gradients are worthwhile getting. So I'm sorry.
Yes, I do think a temperature gradient is worthwhile getting.
You're going to see what looming is.
Vertical
Is it
temperature
because
gradients
of
are
temperature?
crucial.
Is it because of something else?
The vertical
What is
temperature gradients are
looming?
crucial.
What is looming? What is looming? It's about the temperature in the air and the distance or something.
Looming is a visual effect. If you ask me what
visual effect.
Right, looming is a visual effect. If you're asking what the cause of looming is, that's a different question, which I can answer that as well. But looming is the raising up due to refraction of things that particularly, and this effect is greater with distance. So things further away are raised up more than they are near to. Also, I mean, I must admit, I'm going to have to get back onto dendrometry because most often when you get looming, you also get a bit of compression, which I think is the thing that
yeah,
Travis
you have to take every effect in. You know, there's no the same looming all the time over the whole air. You
But
see
on the
something
flat Earth, it's
looming
not
in the
looming at
same
all. Isn't that what
factor,
Travis
in the
was
same
saying?
temperature and everything. Listen,
it's a totally different
you
model.
cannot get the same looming all the time. So there's something wrong there.
I have no idea what you're saying. So Travis did actually have a valid point. He could make the case.
Listen then.
No, you're not making sense.
You cannot have the same looming through the air, the same looming and everything. Everything is lifting up. Standard looming. Are you talking about something like standard looming? So we see the same thing all over the time and all over the year, you know, and everybody see the same. It doesn't matter how far it is. You will everything is looming. What the fuck are you talking about?
I've no idea what point you're trying to make. Travis's point is a sort of, you know, you could go down the route that he's claiming. Basically, you're not having. He's claiming effectively that when he can see shore to shore, that is the non-refractive.
I don't
case.
believe you don't understand what I'm saying. Is the looming the same all over the time?
Johnny, let him
24 hours.
let Rumpus.
And normally, and then he's making the claim that when you have obstruction, then you've got looming in effect. So but
what did he say?
But the thing is, that doesn't agree with the physics of the air. That's because we know what standard refraction does. We know
You don't have the physics of the air. You didn't get the horizontal. You don't have anything.
We do know how refraction works, and we know what standard conditions. We know
Can you at least concede we can make a model on a flat plane that just uses the math and the refraction to obscure things? You know, you agreed before that it was only refraction that was obscuring something. So, you know, can you at least concede that, yeah, there can be a model on a plane?
The refraction effect, whether you got looming, sinking, or whatever, is determined by the temperature gradient. And if you have a typical
point. If it isn't there or not, can it obstruct things?
And the typical temperature gradient. And the typical temperature gradient.
Okay, Rumpus, does it obstruct things? That's all I'm asking. Not about temperature, though. Just does refraction obstruct things?
Well, no, it doesn't. Normally,
you said before it does.
No, standard refraction will actually make the Earth look flatter. So the only thing on a flat Earth, you should not get any obstruction at all unless you've got some.
Hold on, Rumpus. Hold on. Rumpus.
We have an atmosphere.
Hey. Hold on 1 second. Listen, with my refraction model, okay, hold on. It's a function of perspective. So look, even if you say the light is curving down real slow, the way we see
have an equation, Brian. Can I write down the equation?
Yeah, hold on, I'll post it. But hold on.
If you post it, very useful.
It's a function of perspective. So even if the light was slightly, like just barely curving down, just gradually over the distance, the way we see, it would still appear to be curving up just from the function of perspective. The ground coming up high level, the clouds dropping down in the distance. You know what I'm saying?
Could someone unmute paid NASA Shill?
Rumpus, why did you interrupt him to ask for NASA to be unmuted?
Right, because it was
not a good reason to interrupt somebody. Come on.
Because paid NASA Shill was coming in and out, and he was there. Wanted to make
but
sure
we have to be nice now. Nice.
So I did. Apologies for interrupting you, Brian. I apologise for that.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's a function of perspective. So let's just say the light is curving down real gradually. Let's just say that.
Rumpus, please, I'd like to hear him. Just let him say it once.
Let's say the light does what you say, and it refracts downward very gradually over the distance, okay? Let's just assume that for a second. As a function of perspective, the fact that the clouds are almost at eye level, it's gonna even if it's gradually refracting downward, it's still gonna appear to us perspective-wise that it's refracting upwards just from a function of perspective. The fact that the clouds are right on the horizon, 10 miles away, 11 miles away.
Perspective can never cause the positive things to disappear. Brian, do you want to give me your equation?
On your model, on our model, it does.
No, it doesn't.
No, Rumpus, you have got to stop this. There is a difference between your model.
Is not perspective. Hold on, Paige. Perspective is not dependent on the shape of the Earth. Hold on, Paige. Perspective is independent of the shape of the Earth.
You don't have it on your model at all. You only have Earth curve.
Perspective, the calculations and maths and geometry for
on
perspective.
On our model, they work.
No, perspective is independent of the shape of the Earth. The rules of perspective are independent. Right, and perspective says that you cannot cause perspective to cause things to disappear at the bottom up. No, because perspective does not cause that.
Wrong.
Irrelevant.
And we can
the shape
show
of the Earth does not affect the rules of perspective, and the rules of the perspective say that will not happen. It's a pure geometric thing. Perspective cannot cause the effect you're saying.
Rumpus, you are wrong just a little bit, okay?
No, I'm not wrong at all.
You are.
Brian, do you want to post your formula, please, so that I can write it down, and then you could make some predictions. I think we were gonna do this, wasn't it, a week ago? You're gonna make some predictions.
You don't understand the reference frame, so how can you understand what we're
You don't
talking
understand
about?
you've no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know why we have different reference frames.
You're just talking gibberish, Johnny. I'm afraid.
No, are we on a stationary Earth or not?
No.
We're
not. I've now given you the answer 6 times that we're on a rotating Earth with a rotating atmosphere in what you can call lockstep. I've now told you that 6, 7 times. Why do you keep on saying that I haven't said that? Yeah, and other people
because
I am monopolized.
Because I know the sun is moving above me, not the Earth. And I know what's happening in the sky is moving. And I know the Earth is stationary.
Even the universe is going, shut the fuck up, Rumpus.
Yeah, I know. Well, okay, well, I'll go away. But if Brian could give me his formula, then I'll shut up and go away.
So you are saying, no, the Earth is moving, but you have no reference for it. And okay,
yes,
and I'm asking you.
Okay, are you asking me for proofs of what the Earth's rotating? Is that what you're asking me for?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Right. A gyroscope, like Bob Nodell measured, tells you the Earth's rotating.
Oh.
Hold on. And the focal pendulum tells you we're rotating. The fact that things
Don't you have to assume? Don't you have to assume that it's rotating for the gyroscope first?
Why do you need to scattergun them?
Hold on. One moment, please.
I was in the middle of a sentence, Matrix.
Don't you have to assume
Matrix, you're interrupting
for the gyroscope?
I was going to give about 6, 7
He's answering.
I was in the middle of giving an answer.
So on a hypothetical
Johnny
platter,
asked me for some proof.
a gyroscope wouldn't work, is what you're saying?
I was in the middle of giving an answer. Can you not wait until I've given the other point?
On the moving globe.
Right. So the other point, besides the gyroscope,
no, Rumpus, you need to address them one at a time, not scattergun.
Besides the fact that things weigh a different attitude. Besides the fact that when you drop things vertically, hold on, Brian, nearly there. And when you drop things in a vacuum chamber,
things in a different way.
When you drop things in a
vacuum
chamber,
I gotta go. I gotta go. Listen, I
vertically.
posted that in general.
And
the
Ed Boss effect and Coriolis all demonstrate that we are on a rotating Earth. Go ahead.
I gotta go.
The problem is you can't demonstrate none of those things.
Hang on,
listen, I gotta go.
No, hang on.
Hold on, I posted my model in general, y'all.
Why are you talking about Coriolis if you don't understand?
Stop for a second.
Where's the equation?
Okay, well, that seems like a good a time as any to end the show for tonight. We'll be back on Monday night. Hope everybody enjoyed. Got a little crazy, but not too crazy. I thought it was pretty good. And we'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Thanks to the mods for taking care of chat. And thank you to the channel members for for sponsoring the channel. And also anybody who donated to the stream this week. Much appreciated. Most of all, thanks for watching and hanging out. We'll be back on Monday. Hopefully, pretty soon we'll have the new intro. I know he's working on it, so I'm really looking forward to that. But we'll see. No hurry if he's listening at all. I just can't wait to not see Ranty Flat Earth on there, given especially what he's doing with his new channel. No offense to him. But anyway, we'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Talk to you later.